And we're live with another Dash 28 live broadcast between Rashad and Mike Adkins. Mike gets to be on the other side of the screen for a change. We've got a couple of commentators. I'm Dan Miner. We've got Brenton Williams, Ashley Smashley, and Steve Forster. We're going to go through the list here really quick. Actually, before we do that, I would like to point out there's apparently a bet on the line for this. So maybe you guys can talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So for those of you that don't know, I live on the East Coast of the U.S., and Rashad lives on the West Coast of the U.S., which basically means the only time we ever actually get to see each other in person is when we both qualify for the U.S. Masters. And every time we see each other at the Masters, we have a great time. We played like 3 years ago in Chicago. And we keep saying, one of these years, I'm going to fly to your tournament, and one of these years, I'm going to fly to your tournament, yada, yada, yada. So I thought it might be fun for this match if we just go ahead and quit procrastinating and say whoever loses this game, or I guess whoever doesn't win this game, has to fly to the opponent's next live in-person GT, whenever that ends up being.
Excellent.
Well, so if we draw, we both have to go.
That does sound like a win-win, because no matter what, you guys get to hang out again, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Just depends on who's fitting the bill. That's what it is. So
that's right. We're playing for the honor of being host.
Okay. So I will first go off with Mike's list here, and Mike, you can run us through what you're bringing. Oh, here we go. I got the wrong one. Here we go. There you go. Not my face.
Sure. So this is my master's list because I'm lazy and uncreative and just haven't made up a new undead list. Could you scroll up to the top here?
Yeah, just give me a sec. I'm on the wrong one. Thought I was.
There you go. Yeah. So this army basically deploys as 3 sections. There's like a right flank, a left flank, and no center. I got one battle group that's basically all stuff with keyword zombie and a necromancer that gives them all vicious. And then another battle group of almost all things that are ghosts with Morgoth helping them out, and then 3 catapults. So it breaks down to 2 regiments of zombies, 2 troops of wraiths. Those are basically the screens for both battle groups. A Soul Reaver Cav regiment with Dwarven Ale because I didn't quite have enough points to get whites the way I wanted. 2 hordes of zombie trolls, a horde of whites with J boots, and then the 3 Balefire catapults. A Gorblight to hang out with the zombies and zombie trolls, a Vampire Lord on horse because every list needs some kind of Mr. Fix-It, and that's his job. A Necromancer with the Inspiring Talisman, heal 3, and the Vicious Aura for making all the zombies vicious. And then Morgoth because when you make an undead list in Easy Army, he's just automatically there. You don't have to add him.
You say that, but let's take a look at Rashad's list.
Funny, as soon as you started reading your list, my dog started barking, so that means she does not approve.
No like.
So Rashad, run through your list.
Let me see, I'm bringing 2 regiments of zombies, naked, a unit of Soul Reaver infantry with Blessing of the Gods. This is the extra cheese. A unit of Soul Reaver infantry with Macwar's Potion of the Caterpillar. 4 troops of Revenant Cavalry, Soul Reaver Cavalry with Brew of Sharpness, another Soul Reaver Cavalry with Sir Jesse's Boots of Striding, because you need to represent a Vampire Lady with the Blade of Slashing mounted on an undead horse, a Revenant King on undead Great Flying Worm naked, and the Cursed Pharaoh with the Wings of Honey Mace, because that's the only.
All right, I'm going to swap over to your guys' game so that you guys
can cheese on the OD.
Yeah, so that's a serious pain trainable list right there.
Mm-hmm. On both sides, man. I really liked it. It was interesting because I felt I was on the back foot in deployment already because Mike has a few more drops and I had to go first. I had to pick sides and go first.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm going to go with Mike's. Can you talk about your deployment from left to right?
Sure. So starting over there on the left, I've got my block of ghosts and vampires. So it's 2 troops of wraiths, screening the Soul Reaver Cav and the whites with Morgoth in the middle. Yep. And then coming over, you got the Vamp Lord on horse, guarding those 3 catapults to slow down whatever Rashad throws at them to try to keep them from shooting. And then hiding behind the hill with ruins on top, which is a slightly different terrain piece we're using. I've got the 2 zombie regiments with the 2 zombie troll hordes behind them. And then the Gorblight in the middle with the inspiring and vicious aura necromancer behind him.
Excellent. And Rashad, left or right as well?
I'll start on the right. So we have a troop of Revenant Cav that's currently screening a unit of Soul Reaver Cav with sharpness. Then right next to the building, we have a Revenant Cav that's screening a Soul Reaver infantry that has, let me see, this one is the elite one, I believe.
It's elite, yep.
Then I see a Rev Cav right in front of the Cursed Pharaoh with the Wings of Honey Mace in front of the lake. And those are screening Soul Reaver infantry with Pathfinder. Right next to them is the Vampire Lady with the Blade of Slashing. And then we have a troop of Rev Cav screening a unit of Soul Reaver Cav with the J-Boots. The 2 naked zombie regiments are right here, and all the way over here on that flank, we have the Revenant King in the flank on that flying worm.
And even in the mystical world of the internet, we got overhang from the dragon.
Yeah, like 3 times the size of what it should be.
No, I love it.
I mean, come on, size matters when it comes to dragons, all right?
Okay, well, I guess we'll let you go so you can go and start and playing your game. And good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, look, guys.
Good luck,
See you
guys.
afterward.
See you.
Let's do it.
Rashad,
Do I
go
not need to
away.
get out of here?
Yeah, please.
I was like, Rashad, you're not commentating. Shoo shoo.
All right, so thoughts?
I've played Mike's list on many occasions. He runs it incredibly well. It's very, it could do a lot of things. The zombie block is just, nerve and punchiness. He's got a great firing legs for this Balefire catapults. There's just nothing, and Rashad it's just staring down Rashad's online.
Yeah, the firing lane because of the lake here, it's gigantic. He can see pretty much everything except for the 2 units on the far right, and then the dragon over on the far left.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Rashad does get the first turn, which helps.
yeah.
Or I guess choice, but let's be honest, he should be.
First turn.
If you're playing Invade, it's one of those scenarios where you want to go first.
Yeah.
Right.
There really isn't a scenario where I would want to go first.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. But
That's pretty much me too, but I'm not a good enough player to know whether or not that's actually always true or not.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's
remember-
arguments that people make for always going first. I could see there maybe being the odd scenario where it's not detrimental to go second. Where having the bottom of 6 is nice, but
Yeah, the thinking that I had in 2nd edition was oh, you get bottom of 6, so you can jump on tokens, they can't do anything about it. But still, just with so many things moving things being so crucial, you almost always get to dictate where the fight's going to be. And with Invade, especially, Rashad already has the speed element with all the red calves, and he's going to be able to dictate where those fights happen.
well, and he gets to move up before getting his face boom
Yeah,
by some catapult boys.
That's true.
Yeah.
The catapults are really far back, though. They're still at least a couple turns away, especially with all of the Rev Cav up front being shambling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like the choice of the Pathfinder on the Regiment of Soul Reaver Infantry. I think that's a nice little touch. I mean, especially being a Regiment 2, you're getting that, the saving of the points, and only being 20. And I really like that choice. Still hitting on 3s, going through any terrain. Not that the terrain is particularly condensed in the middle here, but...
Yeah, it looks like both obstacles are barely going to see any light of day in this game.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Brenton?
Rashad has to be careful because he's I mean, we're jumping right into the analysis. Sorry, we're jumping past some of the lists. We'll get back to it. But those Soul Reaver Cav's job is to die for the units behind them. And he is opening up some small gaps that might allow any pinpoint shooting from those catapults into the back units.
Yeah.
Especially that one that turned. And he might be rethinking this.
This guy here. Yeah.
He has to be very careful because they don't care about cover. So if they can mark that, 2 millimeter line through a unit onto the back valuable units, then they're losing some of that utility. And he can drop us Soul Reaver Cavalry in one turn with some good rolls.
Oh yeah.
So
it looks like he's left a gap for maybe one of them to fire, but definitely not all three now.
He shrunk that gap. Like it was bigger a moment ago.
Yeah, it was much bigger before.
It's
just probably one, maybe two. And
exactly.
You never know. Hashtag UB dice. You can get both hits and roll 8 wounds, and they could just be off.
But the Revenant Cav is a perfect screen for this army because it is taller or as tall as the other units.
Right.
Their chiefs all had 105 points for the
100 points, yeah.
Defense 5, dash 14 nerve, won't be wavered.
It's thick.
It's thick, yeah.
It's thick.
If you invested in that, you have to make sure they're actually doing that job. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, looks like we got a lot of takesies backsies here. Which is, you gotta say, so much easier to do in UB than get up, move all your models on the table, and then be like, shit.
I don't want to do that.
I don't like that at all.
That's why I put blank bases out.
Yeah, we've talked about the love of blank bases, but but sometimes it's not even just like 1 or 2 units. It's like when you see the whole battle line in front of you, right? So it's you can still deal with blank bases. It's just definitely easier to take it back and see the infinite futures when you're doing it in UB.
Well, this looks a lot better. I don't see much for gaps here now. That
no.
Yeah, that. I don't think any of the you can get a cheeky shot with any of them now.
Yeah.
No.
So this is a mirror match, and I think I said in the last time we casted a mirror match, I hate playing them, but I love watching them. Whenever I'm playing them, it's like a high stress. Like, what did I do wrong? Every little thing is going to be exacerbated. I had access to the exact same tools they did, so I can't even complain about my army. But when I'm watching them, all of that stuff makes great trauma.
Yeah. Well, I think also, especially when you're playing a mirror match of an army where, maybe it's like a one-off. You just decide to take this random army and it's a mirror match just for fun, or, you hardly ever play. But when it's like mirror matching, or if you're matching up against an army you play all the time, it goes so much deeper. It's like your dice come down to more. Every little mistake gets exacerbated more because you know the mechanics of how everything's going to work. Or you should. Maybe.
Right. So because of that, I want to, for a moment, as Rashad is noodling on his moves, sort of look at what are the key differences between these lists. Differences and key similarities. They both brought strong units. Ed has a million of them, but they're very different sort of lists.
They both brought cheese.
Yeah. Mike's side, he obviously has the shooting advantage with the Balefire catapults, and I think he has a little more staying power on the right flank with that kind of block of zombies and everything, and then has more of his hard hitters on the left flank, and then obviously the big thing is Rashad obviously didn't go to Undead Players 101 because he's not playing Whites or Morgoth.
I mean, that's how good the list is that
yeah, exactly. I was about to say, like, with Undead, it's such a varied list. This could be an Undead matchup, and you could see completely different things.
He did get the RevCav memo. Although he only brought them in one size, and all 3 sizes are great. So it,
Yeah.
Maybe they just like them small. Okay.
well, this is I mean, Rashad was running RevCav in second edition for years. He's been on that bandwagon for a while. And they got sort of better in the meta, and he can keep riding that train. This is, I mean, looking at this is a very like into V2 list that just survived into V3 with no problem.
That's how I feel about a lot of Undead. It kind of was
Yeah.
good, and now it's still good.
Yeah, you can still take, like, I mean, at least on the East Coast, the Thirstful Coven thing was really popular, and Mike Adkins ran it with the like really fast Soul Reaver infantry and Lady Alona. But you still see, like Rashad has. I mean, they have 2 regiments of Soul Reaver infantry, and since they're regiments, they get all the cool toys at a discounted price. So you're getting elite for 20 points, and you're getting sharpness for 35.
It's a big bunch of vampires on that side of the
That's a
board.
big surge.
Wow. UB dice? Question mark. Sure, Rashad, you can have UB dice today. Sure.
I think my UB dice thing is gone now. I don't see it. Oh, exclamations! Here we go.
There it
you
is.
go.
Covers over your face though.
That's fine. Put it back. I also like how in the chat it seems, Steve, people thought you were British, and now they no longer. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Baltimore on white trash.
Yeah, they were like, I thought he was British. I was like, so you've let the populace down.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone.
But it's okay. I disappointed them by drinking water from a jar instead of wine from a fishbowl. Sorry.
You can say
Yeah,
that's
I also have not cracked a beer yet, so
It's also 3 hours earlier for you, so it's.
That doesn't matter to Dan.
I know.
I got up at 6 a.m. to play that game. I had a beer during that game, so
there's nothing wrong with a breakfast beer.
right. Although it's got to be, it's got to be a breakfast stout at that point, right? So
Yeah, get a little something, a little more meat on its bones.
yeah.
So Rashad's turn can kind of be summed up as he pushed a lot of shit forward, and he has shifted, at least to look, the Soul Reaver cavalry and one of the Soul Reaver cavalries and the zombies, vampire, and Revenant King on Undead Flying Worm towards that second battle group. So he's sort of getting to
And it looks
Matt.
like now I'm also looking the zombie regiment, I believe it is there on the left behind the hill. Did he leave them so they're not even touching the hill to see over?
Yeah,
it looks like I don't know what they've decided. It's super close.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like they're not to me, but I don't know what they've decided.
I think it's the leader point here, and it looks like it's just off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if that makes a huge difference. But I mean, anytime I like to be able to see, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big with.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Just to say, the thing with UV, with the terrain features, it gets really dicey, and you can start splitting hairs with when terrain features start and where they don't. Like, where does this pixel line start to get darker? Are we counting that as when the pixels start to change? As and there's been times where I've failed to take off units because I had to pivot through 3 pixels of the forest, and so I was hindered.
I think there's also like it depends too, like, but in something like that where you're talking about like, am I going to be able to see over the hill or not? If you're like, so I'm moving to the edge of the hill so I can see.
Right.
Or
talking intent is definitely a big thing. They are on Discord, so I don't think that's a problem here.
Right.
No.
We just don't know what that intent is because we can't hear it.
Yeah. So I mean, like, we'll find out, I guess, how the next turn plays over it. But I think that's also just as important on the tabletop. Your intent is huge, right? Because even if you're like, I'm intending to stay out of charge, and you've mismeasured, or your opponent can look and go, well, actually, I think you got to go back another ½ inch, or it just makes for a much cleaner game with a much less arguments. And as someone who, like, I'm relatively short, so for me to see that sometimes when I'm measuring, I'm like, someone needs to check that over there for me. I can't
Right.
reach. So
All right, now we're gonna get to see how Mike responds.
let's see, Mikey boy. This is brie cheese.
Yeah.
I'm calling Rashad
So-
melted cheese, and Mike is brie cheese. Okay.
Your names were a lot nicer than mine. Mike's is I called Mike's the douche canoe, and Rashad was the douche kayak. I know we can't really, but
I like cheese, so
you're Canadian, of course you do.
I live in Montreal. Of course, I like cheese.
So, like, obviously, Mike has a artillery battery there. If it's hot, it's hot. If it's not, whatever. But he does have shooting, so there is a bit of a clock on Rashad's actions that says you need to come to me and fight. He's been playing undead for a few years, non-shooting undead. He should be used to playing under that sort of pressure. Like when you have no shooting and you're undead, you just get used to sort of being outgunned and knowing you need to get certain stuff done quickly. But what is kind of Mike's plan here? Like he's bunched up in one corner. He has another block on the other side. How's he dealing with that flyer? How's he dealing with basically just a wall of hurt coming at him that can pop units?
Yeah, and I don't know exactly where he's going to go with the catapults. I mean, do you try to one-shot one of the Cav troops? But that kind of seems like a waste of a turn. But if that's the only thing you're getting, I mean, he could pop some shots to one of the zombies. But again, they're zombies. But
then also I would say, like, what if you're Rashad? What are you sending to take out some catapults? If you want to go war machine hunting, what are you sending?
He really doesn't have. He has a mounted vampire, right?
Isn't the mounted vampire like the way over by the hill on the left side, right?
Yeah, so he really doesn't have much that's on that side to really go and punch something.
Yeah, I don't. From my early look, he has a flying pharaoh in the list, right?
Right. The flying pharaoh is behind. Looks like between one of the Soul Reaver infantries and the
right there in the middle. Yeah, I see it there.
Yeah.
And that flying pharaoh is why that vampire is sitting in the middle of open space.
Right. Because the pharaoh pops his head out and it gets punched by a vampire.
So the pharaoh has to put himself in a position, theoretically.
No, he doesn't, right? Because he can just still hide behind a RevCav unit, and then that RevCav unit moves out of the way so that the guy can charge, right?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, but we're saying, like, if he sends the pharaoh, I think, into the war machines, into the catapults, that the vampire just turns and goes, I'm gonna hit you with my little sticks.
True enough. Yeah.
So
my sticks are actually the bones of my enemies.
Yeah. He maybe takes it out. It makes it ineffective for a turn, but then you get vampired,
which might be fine. Like the idea is that vampire right now has about 3 different really great uses, and as long as it is standing there where it is kind of playing defense, it can perform any of those tasks. And my thought is you need to make that vampire make a choice.
Right.
and a choice that ultimately sets other things up. So I wouldn't just send the mummy in.
Oh no.
But if you can send the mummy in when that vampire, it's the old chess thing of like a split, right? Where you want him to either run up and beat chaff or do something useful in the main battle line, or protect his war machines. You want to make him make that difficult choice, and hopefully make the wrong choice. But so that's the best tool for war machine hunting I see, because his other ones are being committed over towards the left. But I also think he just might not care. He might be saying, you're going to shoot my Rev Cav. You might take one out in the turns you have to shoot them, and then I'm on you. And when I'm on you, all I'm trying to do is fight you. And if this was more consistent shooting, like shooting is going to do sort of with average dice this amount of damage, that's a little scarier. But he might just be hoping it's cold for one turn, and then he's in.
Yeah, I mean, he's really not giving like anything sexy to shoot at. It's, you want a zombie regiment or do you want one of 3 RevCav troops? And it's, why almost why bother? But if you could take one out, I mean, like you said, Brenton, by the time you deal with, by the time it matters, there's going to be vampires and shit in your face.
So, do you guys think that Mike is giving too much respect to this RevCav troop here? He is spending a lot of time making sure that RevCav unit doesn't have anything to see.
Well, I think we also saw yesterday like a RevCav troop get in some flanks and some nasty things happen.
I would like to see where he moves before I figure out how much respect he's.
Yeah, sure enough.
The thing is, like, this is, and I don't mean, I'm not on the like RevCav are broken bandwagon. They might be, they might not be. Honestly, like, it's not something I want to spend too much time on. But what I will say is, RevCav troops are really good, and the reason they're really good is they look and cost like chaff, but they are Thunderous 2, Dash 14 nerve with defense 5. So when they get up in your face, you count on breaking them. And that's really annoying to deal with when there's such a wall of hurt coming after them.
Right. It's the same way with Butcher regiments. You've got the defense 5, Dash 15, and at that point, that's all I see is the fat button, unwavering high nerve for what it is. And they get in your way, and you have to commit way more resources to taking off a 105-point troop than they're worth, and then you have vampires.
And that's the difficulty we're looking at here, which is on this right flank. What does Mike have that will remove RevCav consistently without committing real units that then get punched? Because like zombie trolls are cool, they're tough, I love them, but they take an unhindered charge from Sharpness Soul Reavers and they die. So
but
Mike
I think also
can't let that happen. But how does he prevent that? What tricky plays does he do to prevent that?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking too, like we're saying, like now, the RevCavs, like it's hard to get rid of. Well, then maybe shooting the RevCav isn't the worst thing in the world either with the catapults.
Yeah,
get them out of the way, right? Like, and then you're not dealing with them standing in front of your shit. But that's the thing, you're not going to get rid of all of them.
Yeah, you can maybe do if you roll hot, you get rid of one a turn, but then you have 2 turns of that. Then there's vampires.
Yep, and they're coming for you.
Yeah,
they hunting.
So, for me, what's interesting here is, that gore blight sitting in the middle of that formation, I think could be super, super critical. It's a small footprint. It's hard to get rid of.
And
when you start treating pieces, it's sitting in difficult terrain or anything that hinders RevCav. It can start doing those interesting bits where you can lose the zombies, but the gore blight's still there, and then you get a combo charge with gore blight and zombie trolls that can pop something real. I think that small footprint sitting in there could have a huge impact if it's used correctly.
I do love me some 50 mil base sizes on monsters and stuff. It was very sad when I had to move to 75 mil giants.
Yeah. So between gore blights, or if you're playing Empire Death Bone Giants, you have surge behind it as well. If you have them with a surge nearby, and if you're not charging flanks and rears, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
So, as would normally happen, if I say, absolutely, this is not what I'm saying, and we end up with.
Oh, okay, everyone screenshot that. That's going on Fanatics.
How did you share that like that? That's awesome.
You click it.
I didn't even know that you could share stuff like that. That's
we're doing a quick
maybe we should
lesson for. and then I will hide it for you. There you go.
Hide it away. Put it away where no one can see it.
So we got moves happening now. Mike's, and like, yeah, I love that the vampire just backed up a little. He's saying,
No, it makes sense because he doesn't want to just get charged by that troop of Rev Cav either, though. I guess actually probably not. He probably doesn't even care. Yeah.
It's the height thing. Like that smacks him in the face, and the whole rest of his line moves up, and there's nothing else the vampire can do. It just limits his options. I don't know that it would be that bad. It just limits his options. So, the thing is that block on the right, we'll see how he solves it. But right now, it's getting kind of pinned in by aggressive movement, and it's invade. I know that's sort of obvious, but like, if this was kill, Mike could just castle, but it's not kill.
You got to get over there.
Yeah.
Kind of why we all hate kill, because one side figures out that they can just castle and then does that. But what's interesting is he has a lot more investment on Mike Adkins does on his our left, his right, than Rashad originally did, and Rashad's sort of sending resources that way, and we'll just see what he can do to exploit that. Because the only only two units that you would consider a hammer in Mike's list are on our left, his right.
Right. And that's typically how he plays it too. I mean, there are two distinct battle groups. You have a grindy one with the zombies, and then the punchy one with, wraiths and whites and Soul Reaver Cav.
Can you click on the Dragon Boy so I can see his stuff, just so I have an idea of what distances are? Thank you.
Yeah, you can see quite a ways in there.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. He's got quite a ways he can go. It's the other thing, right? You don't want to just have your battle line jumped.
Well, Mike doesn't need a lot of time to get over, right? He only needs even shambling, he still only needs about 3 turns. So he can wait a turn or two and kind of see how the shooting goes, right? So I'm guessing that's kind of what the plan is here.
I mean, both he positioned the wraiths in good terrain, so and if the dragon goes into it, it's going to be hindered. And pretty much anything that's going into those wraith troops are going to be hindered. And if the dragon wants to take a flank on the right unit of wraiths, then he's getting whites in the face.
Oh, he's out of range of that dragon right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
By just over a half inch.
Yeah.
Who is?
The dragon.
These wraiths here are just out of range of the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not
the close ones are in range, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Jump on the wall. That'll be great. Do that.
Yeah. And then
that's one of those rules that wraiths getting Strider is one of those rules that I love from a rule standpoint. Like, it's great. It's for undead players, but it's also great from a thematic sense. Like,
of course,
Ghosts shouldn't give a shit about walls.
Yeah. All of a sudden, they're just not as powerful because they moved through something that they can move through easily.
Yeah, so it's like them, water elementals. There's a few other random units that have Strider that you're like, yeah, that totally makes sense to me. I like it.
Thematically, this makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yawning a whittle.
So I haven't played Mike Adkins, and this is I'll caveat this before someone screenshots it and says this is not an insult or an insinuation, but is he a slow player normally?
I don't know.
Not particularly.
I've
So
only
that
ever,
means
He's
that
not a
another
Chris
shot
Fisher
button him into the
slow player.
tank then, right?
So this is that the sort of question I'm getting at is he's spending a lot of time on this, which is not a problem. It's Rashad's making him make some choices, and it feels like he's thinking hard. He's in the tank, but
yeah.
it
I've only
looks
ever
like
had.
he's moved to shooting.
Yeah, he really just repositioned the hammers on the left side, and the zombie blob is kind of stayed put.
Yep.
All right, so he's shooting at some rev cav there with the first catapult.
If you pop them, you are leaving a gap in his line, and he has to react to that.
Right.
So I don't know what the best choice here is, but that's a solid one if you can get them.
How do you kill that which has no life?
He's quoting Conan. That's what he does.
I know.
So the first one just puts a 3 on him.
Okay.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
Not shabby.
Let's look at this.
Oh,
Ooh.
There we go. So the double hit, that's the problem.
that sucks though.
Only 4.
Balance back out.
I don't get to. I think we get to re-roll the one.
he'll get
with the
to
better.
re-roll.
Stay at 1, sucker.
So
3
6
more
on
rolls.
it. That's
The 9. Shattering, right? Oh, it doesn't. It's the Tomb King one that can buy
Yeah,
shattering.
no shattering.
yeah.
So he would need an 8 twice to kill him.
And that's where it's tough.
He mind fogged the vampire with.
Not
With
the
Margot.
vampire.
Could he see him? I thought the vampire's mostly behind that hill. Doesn't matter if they play it that way, though. That said, though, that one's going to need a double 6.
And they
to-
10
I mean, it takes.
that actually
off.
took them off. That was a good nerve roll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
8, which that's.
8's a little is above average. I like to rely on a 5 if you want to be. But who matters what you roll for damage when you roll hot nerve?
Yeah.
Well, the thing to look at is that big surge roll took him out of inspiring, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he made the choice to really put pressure with that unit by surging it forward, but then you take it out of inspiring, and you get a lucky 10 on your nerve dice, and now you bring heads. You have a big old hole in your line.
Yeah,
Yes.
now those
Now you got some
infantry are very
catapults.
exposed.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got some catapults staring down your Soul Reaver infantry.
Or, I mean, if the catapults can kill a rev cap a turn, then this is a easy game for Mike.
Yeah.
He rolled decently, and then he had a hot nerve, which is not a guarantee. And since these guys don't waver, if you don't get that hot nerve, they just shrug it off and then go.
Well, what's the
yeah.
nerve on Soul Reaver infantry?
15, 17.
17, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the question is, this list relies on its rev cap. It needs
It has
them
to
to
deliver
because all of his attacking units are basically 15, 17 nerve across the board. They can't take a combo charge from stuff on Mike's side and live very well.
No.
So they need a delivery system. And Rashad's brought one. He's brought 4 rev cap troops as his delivery system, plus some characters to get into the mix. So there's a choice here between you've opened up a soft underbelly, do you shoot it, or do you keep trying to strip away the armor?
Yeah, it's a good question. Although I think if it was me, I'd take the Soul Reaver infantry whenever I've got an opportunity to.
Yep. The other interesting thing is, does Rashad even want to fight that group in the corner, or does he just want to try and pin them in and shift around them?
Knowing Rashad wants to fight. He's the kind of player he is. I don't think he's going to be the guy who sits on the center line and waits
I think he wants to roll the dice.
He
Yeah,
loves
I-
rolling dice.
And I
I'm
think the
on-
catapult changes that math some, the catapult with its great line of sight. But
Yeah.
there is a world where you just throw your rev cav into that little block in the corner, to slow them down, and you shift your infantry towards the middle, and you get basically everything across the line in your army, except maybe that Soul Reaver cav stays back to keep him honest and tries to cross at the end. And you just end up with most of your army on their side of the board where they've got almost nothing.
Yeah. And then you just have to keep it alive and you're good, right? So
Yeah, that's the thing. The catapults make it. Artillery makes all of that harder.
exactly. Because you have that cleanup too, you know. You get
So
some
if
wounds
I'm
on
Rashad
somebody.
here, I'd probably let one shot go on the Soul Reaver Cav, just not 2 or 3.
And this is where the way Rashad deployed in the shadow of those catapults means I like it if he was just going to push forward and smash his right, our right, Mike's left. If he was just going to throw it right up there and fight. But any of this kind of faffing about in the middle, maneuvering for space and charges, all of that happening in the shadow of those catapults, it's rough.
Yeah.
Like you don't have time to delay and remaneuver and reposition. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess there's something to be argued. Like Rashad could have just basically deployed all on, like once the catapults were down, deployed a lot heavier on the other side and had very little problem probably getting right across the line if he would deployed a little more on the left too, right?
Yeah, I mean so the problem is if you are on the left of that hill, you are charging at impassable terrain and an obstacle, which is what Mike would love you to fight into.
True.
I sort of like the idea of just the way he was deployed with just crushing that right-hand side and delaying the left versus he's sort of splitting and doing both.
So I see
Yeah,
we've
and-
got the banners up with the unit strength. I just wanted to see what were we at comparatively. So
Rashad
start
just
the
lost 1 unit strength and 1 unit.
it was 19 to 21 in favor of Rashad for unit strength starting this off.
Yes.
That's what I'm seeing. Yeah.
And the way Mike deploys this army, the first 3 drops are the catapult. So, and of course, you have this wide open firing side of the board. So there's really nothing that really puts on Rashad to either be in terrain and go fight over, and difficult, or you just kind of stare it down and hope that the UV dice is on your side and the catapults don't pick up a unit of a turn.
Yeah. Well, I think that too, though. Like, I also think that, like, as Mike, in this kind of map terrain, like, people know where those war engines are probably going to go. They've got great firing lanes down that middle. So why not just put them first? They know they're going to go there anyways.
Yeah, but that's how Mike runs the army. His always the first 3 drops are catapult, because it's the relative footprint of his battle groups isn't that big.
Yeah.
So it's pretty, so they can go wherever it needs to be, and that's just how he plays the army.
Well, not to mention, they were going to go there anyways because there's this giant triangle here of line of sight that these things can.
Yeah, that's
and
what I was saying.
Extends out here too, right? So I don't think there's very little chance of Rashad really kind of being able to use this hill and this forest to block off enough line of sight to be able to even refuse the far flank. And then when it comes down to that, is that the unit strength is really, really close. The shooting ends up becoming the advantage there. So kind of Rashad needs to fight. He can't just kind of dance around.
Yeah, and what I'm sort of saying is I would have liked if he had just gone and fought. Like he's peeling off units, he's doing some dancing, and I like the idea of him just smashing one of those 2 battle groups, preferably the one that's by the catapults, because that's the thing that would hurt you next, and making him come at you. And if those lights and Soul Reavers just cross the board and claim an objective, like cool, you you've got his side, and the idea is you have more on his side than he gets on yours.
Yeah.
Which, like, win scenario, win game.
We'll see.
Well, also, I mean,
Yeah.
who cares about the scenario if your opponent is dead?
Exactly.
I'm just saying. That happens to me. That's how I lose.
On board control right now, but the problem comes in is that if he keeps on losing pieces every turn, it's gonna board control's not gonna matter once that zombie kind of group comes out of its corner.
And I mean, like Mike rolls one hit on his catapults next turn and does 2 damage to something, and suddenly we're like, oh, never mind, Rashad's in a great spot. Look at all these angles he's set up.
Or he does like a cajillion wounds with his shooting next turn, and we're going, sorry, Rashad.
That said, though, if I get one of my key like chaff pieces picked up turn 1, especially one that's as tough as that, it gets into my head a little bit, right? You gotta think about, oh God, is that going to happen every turn, kind of a thing, right? So. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get out there.
From the furthest one?
From any of them, actually. Yeah.
Does the one furthest to our right still have, you think, angle on seeing it?
This one? Probably. Yeah, it cuts the corner. This marker they've got here actually is his line of sight.
Our right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably did, because it would come down around here.
Yeah.
It would cut around the same spot.
Yeah. And this is where it's like...
But he can't hide that unit at all. Even coming this way is not going to help either. So at that point, why not just damn the torpedoes and just march straight forward?
It's the issue you run into is you gotta have that plan and sort of stick with it, and he's committing multiple directions, and that worries me a little. That like if he moves into that center, now he's because that's the elite one, right? That's not the Pathfinder unit.
That's correct, yeah.
If he goes and jumps in that terrain, now he's just slowing himself down, taking longer.
Plus, he hasn't left enough force now on this right to deal with the zombie troop.
Yeah, because if he commits too much stuff, if Rashad, I shouldn't say he. If Rashad commits too much stuff to his left, even points that way, then that zombie group takes a big step forward and starts to threaten. And then he has to sort of turn back the other way. And that zombie group, all this time, I mean, flaming skulls are raining down from the sky as they laugh. Yeah,
I just feel like the way you're describing it now, I just imagine this entire like zombie little horde hiding out behind this hill, and like the commander's just like, wait, and go.
And shamble.
And then all of a sudden just like crawling up from behind the hill.
Good quote there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there it is. The scenario doesn't matter.
It's not true, but a little true. Yeah. It's like I definitely complained once to someone, and I've said it a few times. I've told people, I was like, this whole tournament, it goes to turn 7 when I don't need turn 7, and I lose in there, and then or I need turn 7 to win, and I don't get it, and it happened like the whole tournament for me. And someone very wisely was like, well, you can't have turn 7 if you table your opponent by turn 5. And I was like, I guess that's just my problem. Nothing to do with any other aspect of my game, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, other than the fact that it takes a good aspect of a game to be able to table somebody by turn 5, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'm tabling anybody by turn 5.
So here's the interesting thing for me is one of the things that jumps out is three balefire catapults are roughly the cost of the, I mean, not exactly, but like roughly in the same bucket as the Revenant King on Giant Undead Flying Worm.
Yeah.
Right. So that is a huge difference in sort of static. One is a static army piece. It's something that places down, it does its thing, you have to defend it. And the other is an incredibly mobile piece. So for me, right now, Mike's catapults are dictating more of this game than that Revenant King on Undead Worm. It's kind of just chilling.
Yeah, he didn't do anything with him this turn. He just handed turn over, and that guy did not move.
And so he's keeping that entire flank honest. Like those white pushing forward, that Soul Reaver isn't pushing forward. But right now, I don't know that Mike's super worried about that. So
I have a question for you in general, maybe not in this specific matchup or game. If you had those points to spare, would you take the 3 catapults or would you take a flying kingy boy?
It's 2 different list building styles.
Yeah. So I was just asking like a preference. Would you rather go towards a catapult or a flying boy?
Depends how I'm feeling that day.
I like goblins.
And I'll tell you, that's not an either or kind of decision making. Like 300 points is not just, hey, I've got 300 points left over in my list, right? Actually, 300 points is something that's a key part of the synergies that you're trying to do. I think both people took the right pieces based around the lists that they have put out.
Yeah.
Mike with his zombie kind of block has a little more static, so the shooting actually makes a little more sense. Where the dragon makes a lot more sense in the Soul Reaver cavalry, Soul Reaver infantry, like the bag of hammers style list.
Yeah, I get where I can see why both took what they did. I was just more like, I wonder
Alamo a few years back, the second day was 2,500 points. So I took three flyers and 3 catapults.
You dirty man.
And there was a hill in the second game on the second day. There was a hill just outside my deployment zone. So for a brief moment, I was living the dream of 3 catapults that had surged or had moved forward that first turn onto a hill.
You were a dirty man.
And then it all that ended up not really mattering. But for that moment, I'm like, yes, drink 3 flyers and 3 catapults.
Okay, so that's some cheese. You can be good at cheese.
Oh yeah. I had a reason for fielding all the cheese, but it was what I could paint in the time, and painting big monsters is way faster than painting 300 points of troops or skeletons or zombies. So.
You still get to be good at cheese. It's not like you're talking your way out of this.
However, let's so we're over to Mike's turn.
Yeah.
So we didn't.
I don't feel like Rashad put him in a position to make a bunch of hard choices this turn. But if someone smarter than me wants to chime in from the chat or the panel and show where Rashad is pushing the pace on this, I'd love to see it.
See, this is the only target here that I've got selected. So obviously that's where the catapults go again. I don't know. I think Rashad is reacting too much at this point.
Which is kind of sad to see too, because Rashad went first. So in some ways, you want to go first so that you leave your opponent reacting to you, and now he's stuck reacting to his opponent. So
but this is something that Rashad should be used to, because he doesn't have any shooting, right? So
Yep. So we may watch this back, or he may come in with a master stroke and at the end be like, I wasn't worried at all, whatever. But from a neutral observer standpoint, the psychology of this is he pushed forward. He had a key piece for him because he's used to having 4 Revenant Cav, and now he has 3. And in his mind is this spiraling narrative out of control of I'm going to lose this one, and then I'm going to lose my hammers, and then I'm not going to have enough stuff, and I'm going to get tabled by these damn catapults. And it's sort of going through plan B, C, and D on the fly instead of, knuckling down and going with plan A, or having a really already set up plan B.
Right, but then turning this unit here inwards and only moving them instead of double timing them forward, isn't that kind of making it a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like.
It's like I'm trying to explain it, but I don't like it.
if I was Mike, this is what I would want to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is exactly what Mike wants to happen. I mean, that brick of vampire nastiness, instead of staying by itself, is now fanning out because you got to respect the speed of the whites and the wraiths there, but and like you said, he didn't push up and just be like, okay, zombies, I'm here. So yeah.
Because for me, if he goes into that combat on the far right flank, if he goes into that peace trading game with the 3 Rev Cav that are alive and the 3 hammers behind it, just straight at them, and this turn was, charging into those zombies, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good position for him, I feel. If he had just balls forward, full speed ahead, straight into them.
If you don't take off the zombies in the first turn, then there's Gorblites in your flanks and
into the flanks of the Rev Cav. And
exactly, into the flanks of Rev Cav. I'm okay with that.
Right.
I'm saying he has 3 screening pieces and 3 hammers on that flank left. Right. And some characters to get in the mix to counter other characters. And I feel like those 3 Rev Cav troops and those 3 hammers should be able to, in a peace trading, beat up on Goreblight, 2 zombie regiments, and 2 zombie trolls.
Absolutely.
Of course, there's variations, but if he had just kept it to that, I think he wins on that side. Mm-hmm. And right now, I feel like he's putting himself in a position where he's going to be losing resources and still be faced with that same reality.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of abandoned the plan.
Go ahead.
He just abandoned the plan on the right flank of just pushing up and mashing zombies. And I mean, he has enough on the left. I mean, is the Revenant King enough on the left just to keep him honest? I mean, I don't know.
So this is the sort of I feel like I'm dumping on Rashad, and I shouldn't. He's a good dude. What is he trying to achieve now? Like, we're jumping in his mind. Is he just shifting it? Is he going to ignore that entire block, run across the catapult fire, and just try and crush Mike's hammers and then be done with it and just hope his stuff lives?
Yeah, but then also if you do that, sure, but then you kind of leave that whole zombie block to just shamble their slow asses across the field.
Because that block is 11 unit strength. If you just kind of abandon them and go for the other side, which is
it's not a full abandon. He's got 1 Rev Cav troop and 1 Soul Reaver cavalry over there to kill some of that unit strength and keep them honest, and potentially block them up to turn 6.
Right.
So if those zombies don't come forward this turn, they're starting to get in a position where those zombie trolls are never getting across the center line.
Right.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, like I said, I don't love the plan, but do we think that's now the plan? Is that the path?
Like it, because you've got the Revenant King on the far left. So if Mike turns to kind of address the incoming vampires, then that guy can come in for some flanks. So it puts Mike in a position to can I move forward? Can I not move forward? How do I address incoming vampires?
Okay, we just got way too quiet there.
Yeah, Jeremy made a big aggressive boxer thing that I'm not going to put up on the screen, but it somewhat boils down to the Mike Tyson quote: "Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face."
Yeah.
Or the older plan. The older version is no plan survives contact with the enemy.
Yeah.
And that is an interesting sort of psychological piece, which is I know players who will chase a bad plan or a plan that they don't think, or they think will work, but no one else does. And it ends up being that way. They are headstrong.
Or
Not just a
stubborn.
special rule, but as a they are stubborn.
I was like,
Failure's not an option.
And this is one of those where I kind of think that Rashad could have done with a little more of that. Like, I don't care that I lost something. I'm going for it.
Right.
But we'll see.
well, I think there's like something to be said for having a set-ish battle plan going into a game. This is kind of what I feel like I'm going to do. And then being able to roll with the punches and adapt quickly is one of those big, huge strengths to have in this game. If your entire plan rides on one thing surviving or one thing happening from the get-go, and that's a really risky play to have, because that's the thing that's going to die if that's what you're relying on. It's just like weird Kings of War karma. Like, if you're like, well, my whole game plan surrounds this one piece of cavalry, you know some dumb shit's going to happen and those cavalry are going to die by turn 2. Like,
Hashtag UP happens.
Hashtag it happens. I've had it happen on the table. I literally had my Stormwind Cav in cover die on the top of turn 1.
Yeah.
So if Mike, going over to getting into Mike's head now, if Mike leaves this unit on this battle group on the right for one more turn, I think that's almost letting Rashad off the hook. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think Mike absolutely has to push up now. I mean, it looks like Rashad is calling an audible and changing his plan. So Mike has to do something to capitalize on that. And if we don't move those zombies out of the corner, then the zombie trolls aren't going to make it over by turn 6.
Now, do you think that the other psychological play right now that could be happening is just like in their Discord chat, Rashad is just like spewing some hilarious quotes and stuff and distracting the hell out of Mike? Because that could also be happening.
Oh, I'm sure there's lots of Conan quotes going on. So
yeah,
I think Rashad is using this global pandemic to get cheap airline prices for next real Vanguard right now. I think he's over there browsing flights, picking out his options.
Looking at the end of April 2021.
There you go.
Like a pimped out army transport case, because the way it's shaking right now, he's getting on a flight.
Is it nice in Virginia in the end of April? Because
it's okay. I mean,
I guess we're talking about Rashad, who lives in like Cali, so it's nice all year round.
It's humid. It's humid, but Mike lives in a little isolated compound where it's just like him in the woods and his significant other, and this enormous house that is capable of hosting a large GT.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, because I'm like, I definitely remember talking to him and him trying to pitch Vanguard, and he's like, well, people camp. And I was like, camping? April? I'm living in Montreal right now. Sold! Like, yeah.
Camping is just white people pretending to be homeless.
Who has to pretend? I love camping. I actually have to step away for a few minutes soonish. I'm waiting on the subject of camping.
Ashley told us there's a black market maple syrup drop going down.
It's more like
the actual the rare sort of fact about Canadians is sort of wildly known, but they run on maple syrup. The thing you don't know, or like it can be replaced with beer if you're in the Pacific Northwest. Like they can also just run on beer, but the rest are running on maple syrup. So a lot of people drink it. There was on pancakes, put it on French fries, whatever. Ashley and Brindley are going the more effective route of just having it injected directly into them through syringes. And they're getting a hot fresh batch, so she has to disappear to get that quick injection of maple syrup and come back even more Canadian.
There's
I already got my plaid on, no worries.
Yeah,
okay?
It's like Popeye. It's just gonna come back buff it out.
There's an episode of Dirty Money on Netflix that goes over like the maple syrup syndicate, and it's crazy how, because there's like apparently a national like reserve of maple syrup that all the people have to contribute to, so it stabilizes the prices. But some people don't, want to grow their own syrup, and so it's a big thing.
I think the coolest thing for me when we moved to Montreal was like maple syrup was like in a can, and it's like how they packaged some of it, and I was like, it is some good stuff.
In the Northeast U.S., they have canned bread.
What?
Yeah, in like New England, it's a thing. It's canned bread. It's like a really dense, almost soggy, like cinnamon raisin bread. It's gross.
Yeah, I was like, you're not selling me on this.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
So now that we've gone on a maple syrup tangent, which is the best tangent, unless we want to have a beer talk, have I missed anything? I don't think anything's really moved or changed.
No, he's in the tank too. So I think he's struggling with what to do with this right-hand flank. Although he hasn't really moved the left much either. So maybe he's on a break.
This is where we go. This is where we go back to Rev Cavs being awesome. They're 105 points, but they've got that 16-inch charge range. Anything that pokes its head out from behind that hill, or even now, it can make sort of cover. And what I think he's trying to noodle through is that Rashad has charge arc and charge range with his Rev Cav against that block. And at what point, like, how does he position this turn to keep a charge from that Rev Cav from being a huge pain in his ass that blocks him up and allows Rashad to suddenly shift the Soul Reaver infantry and Soul Reaver cavalry right back into attack mode on that corner.
Yeah.
So like, what does he do that allows him to still get across that battle line? Because that's the key to winning, is getting across the board, but also doesn't open himself up to being pinned in that corner by aggressive play from Rashad.
And he's also pinned because there's a piece of impassable on top of that hill, isn't there?
Is that impassable or just difficult?
I think they're just calling it difficult. Otherwise, I would not see why he would have deployed these zombies like this.
Okay.
I feel like, can I message them and ask if it's supposed to be? Am I allowed to do that?
If that's impassable. Mike has done a very bad deployment.
Yeah, that's
for a game in which you need to get across the board.
Oh, I was just about to say, I'm fine.
I type pretty fast.
Yeah, I'm a slow person. Well, I guess I don't type very often, except for when I'm on here.
Yeah, so it is just difficult.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
okay.
Yeah, I'm glad that's difficult, because I can be like, otherwise that's like also really weird, because you basically take the hill like out of play. Like, how do you even get half on? Like,
Nope. They did not lock the terrain pieces, it seems like.
Or they're showing us.
Okay.
I think they're just showing us.
So it's height 2 difficult on top of height 3 hill.
Hill, yeah.
So if you're standing in the difficult, it's height 5? Plus
No,
your
if you're, I imagine that's like being in height 2 difficult. So you still count as your regular height, but it blocks up to that much more height.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I get you.
So if you're infantry, you'd be height 5, but there would be, I don't know, math.
And this
Math.
is
No, we
this
don't
is
do
the
math
quick
here.
point about that is
Rashad just labeled the whole left flank as cowards. That's amazing.
What did he do?
He's got a banner that says cowards, and he just moved it over to the left flank because they didn't move at all.
Ah, I love it. Cowards.
But this is a time where there's some really interesting, you can take a big hill or even a small hill, and you can put obstacles, difficult terrain, woods, all kinds of stuff on top of it. You can have buildings or difficult terrain that is different heights for different parts. You can look at your terrain collection, and not everything has to be flattened out into like this footprint, this size, and that's it. You can stack things, and it makes for really interesting effects. Like you can have a really big hill And then it can have its own separate parts of that hill with different terrain pieces on it. So you're fighting half the battle on top of this hill, but there are terrain pieces on top of it that still change the battle.
I think
And Mike really likes doing that with this tournament in person. I mean, he 3D prints the terrain for Vanguard for each time. So there's a specific set of terrain for each table. And if you're in the virtual Vanguard, I played a practice game against Joe Neat a couple of days ago, and Mike's incorporated a lot of that Height 2 difficult terrain in there as well, and it's nice to have something that's a little different rather than just the standard, layout.
Okay, so
I really like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it was definitely it's worth this thinking. Like, this rock field is just difficult terrain, but now it's you can't charge this because we're both Type 2 and
yeah, I feel like it's also fun to add some extra flavor to your cheese on the tabletop. So yeah, you add a little hot sauce to your cheese. Perfect.
little sauce on top of that sharp cheddar.
Yeah. Oh, now I just want nachos. The fuck.
Okay,
all right. We've moved on. Oh no, maybe
balefire phase.
Yeah, balefire phase.
It is no longer the shooting phase. It is the balefire phase. I'm actually really surprised to see that the right side did not move up.
Yeah, Mike really loves his deployment and wanted us to just look at that for another turn.
Yeah, it's like,
like I keep coming back and looking at the screen in more detail and being like, is it frozen?
Should someone text him the word invade?
All right, so one hit, 2 hits.
2 hits.
Yeah.
He's not getting a lot on those D3s.
No.
Yeah.
It's just
only one.
Still not.
Yeah, this balefire don't want to help him out.
I just love that he's failed both vicious. There we go.
3.
2 more.
Vicious.
And 3 more.
Okay. It passed. Okay. Not too worrisome yet, but if the third one hits, we're in. Nope.
Yeah.
It's an 11.
Yep.
Reroll.
No 10.
He did twice though, right?
And he rolled a 3?
Yeah, nothing.
Nada.
And that's the sort of like, if that had happened first round, I think Rashad would have kept with his plan A.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
now does he try and like reverse back to plan A,
Yeah, now he's like, I got to turn everything around and go back.
And that's kind of the problem is the Soul Reavers are now both sitting in difficult terrain, wondering what they want to do. And he's got to go a direction when if he had just stayed pointed the way he was or up that gap between the hill and the difficult, he'd be on top of those zombies.
So no change in scoring units or unit strength this turn. It's been a bit cagey so far.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where, and I apologize in my heart of hearts, maybe I'm a narrative gamer, even though I play tournaments and try and build good lists. If you look at this as a mirror match and you imagine the commanders, I am seeing Mike Adkins as the Lich King in the back lines, like plotting the destruction of this kingdom, pointing catapults, doing different stuff. And then Rashad's avatar or impersonation is on the front lines, just charging, sword in hand, like a
just
vampire.
like crazy, like let's go.
Yeah. Mike's more Rashad is the Blood Dragons, and I forget what the Necrarchs is what Mike's playing.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just,
I've only ever had the lovely privilege to play Rashad, and I've only ever got to play him once, I think. Never had the privilege to play Mike. Probably because we're on different parts of the tables at tournaments. Well, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, Mike. I played Mike in person 3 times, then a couple times on here. Yeah, he's. I mean, you see this trophy case in his. He's showing you his trophy case in his house, and it's full of best painted because he's a fantastic painter,
Yeah, I've
to
seen
say the
his
least.
farming, yeah.
And
Is this Wraith Troop a little too exposed on the left here? Because the other two flying units are quite a ways away. If this dragon decided to come in over here,
He doesn't break them though. And
Yeah,
then
no.
they ground.
yeah,
Rashad would have to roll the nutso and put 6 or 7 damage on him. Even that, you have to really roll the nutso.
Hitting on fives.
Yeah, you'd be hitting on 5s,
yeah.
putting on 3s. It's a
The thing to always remember about the Revenant Kings is they're basically flying anvils.
Yeah.
exactly.
They can do damage and they'll rip apart something from the flank. But if they're staring down the front of you and there's not 2 or 3 of them coming in or them with something else, they're not breaking your unit. And I think that trade is bad.
Yeah.
So that
The
rate,
problem is with Morgoth being able to March 14 and Surge, these guys still project a lot of threat.
Yeah, because they're speed 7, right? So
Yeah.
and I feel like that Wraith Troop is doing a really good job of just kind of scaring that dragon back.
yeah, and it's not a lot of points to be able to just do that, right?
It's just good positioning. I mean, it might have trapped him because of all of the surge on that side, but there was a part of me that would have loved to see Rashad be a lot more aggressive with that Rev King and push him up in a different way, and push the pace with it instead of just staring.
It looks like Rashad's thinking about engaging over on the right side here just to pin them right back in their deployment zone. I think that I like that plan with the chaff.
Yeah.
I think that buys enough time that the zombie trolls never get over.
Now, also,
Just-
I would say,
I would like it to happen last turn.
yeah. But isn't it also now, like, this is going to be the first, like, we haven't seen anything charged yet, right? Like, this
Nope.
game?
And that's Mike Atkins' fault. Let's be real. Mike
It's
Atkins
Mike's fault.
is hiding on his side of the board like a
I'm
big
gonna-
coward. It might win him. It might win him the game, but it does not win him our heart.
Melted cheese
That's
is
the West
always in
Coast
my
style.
heart.
With a West Coast player playing, right?
I mean, sure, I have some bias for members of our team and who live in the great state of California, but I like Mike. He's a good guy. I just wish he would fight.
Mike is a sweetheart of a man.
Yeah,
That is true.
he's not playing like one, but that's okay.
No. Well, he could be playing like one. I mean, he's not really engaging. He's just, let's see what my Balefire is doing.
That looks like a
Take it from
surge
there.
3. And he is in the
Yeah.
flank. That is an interesting play.
And there's the mounted. Do the I know in Empire Dust they do, but does the Pharaoh have surge stock and
I believe
undead?
so. But it doesn't look like it matters. He looks like he's charged.
Yeah, he's going.
He's going for it.
Yeah. At this point, you need to take it out because you're getting the Pharaoh's getting vampired next turn.
Yep. Yep.
His mounted vampire lord doesn't have surge either, so that's I guess they're just blocking them up over here.
Yeah. It's not neither
Yeah,
of
I
them
mean-
very surge heavy lists.
Yeah, Rashad's list is a bunch of vampires on foot and on horses, and he's not expecting a lot of surge shenanigans. And that's the crazy thing about Revenant Cav. Even without surge shenanigans, they're a good freaking unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even need them to have surge to be good.
Looks
One
like
of
he
those
might be
things
coming
like,
back over with the Soul Reaver infantry unit.
And that's if they had just kept going that way.
Yeah, they'd probably be in combat this turn.
He's just instead of being in a position where he could delay one flank and smash another, he's now going to have a very delicate dance where he's basically putting himself in a pincher movement. Like he's walking into the jaws. He might have enough sort of chainsaws and blenders to survive that and just fight his way out, because he's got a bag of hammers. But I just don't love like walking into your own encirclement. It feels rough.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Fertilize our garbage.
Good one, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Especially for a battlefield that is entirely basically corpses. Corpses on corpses.
Corpses. How do you kill something that can never die?
So if you're Rashad, what are you doing here? What's your play?
To be honest, I think I definitely pin the right in. So I probably charge this Rev Cav unit on the far right into this zombie unit, following the Soul Reaver Cav behind. And then, to be honest, this guy here could actually start looking at bottling up like these guys here. Maybe. No, he's not going to even that for a turn. Kind of confused on what he's going to do with the vampire lady. I guess it's still got utility. Maybe come over here to threaten the war machines next turn and force those flying shamblers into some difficult choices.
So I believe in answer to my question of what do you do if you're Rashad right now, we have I worry.
I worry. I show much concern.
Heck.
Okay, Steve. Death by Dragon, Steve, I mean.
It keeps clicking me, even though I'm not. So are we both trying to fight on it? Is that what's happening, Brenton?
Yes.
That's what happened. I clicked hide as you clicked hide. And...
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh my goodness. All right. I want to see dice roll.
Yeah, it's like that thing that happens is that every time those Soul Reaver infantry point a different direction, the Rashad's left becomes strong and weak, like literally by that pivot.
Yeah.
Because if those Soul Reaver infantry go, he's got his dragon and he's got Soul Reaver cavalry and then 2 blocks of chumps. And he's staring down an equal number of units, but sort of better pieces potentially. So it's a question. Once they're pointed that way, he has overwhelming force going that direction, and that's where he's trying to win. So it
just goes to show how strong that unit is.
If he commits to the right, if he sends Soul Reaver infantry with elite and Soul Reaver cavalry, that doesn't feel like enough to break the zombie block out completely. It might be, but it's tricky. Is there a world where that's where he sends those 4 units over plus the vampire as a utility piece, and he tries to win both sides?
I think so, or at least continue to threaten to try and keep those guys pinned.
So here's one, right? If we sort of split his forces down the sort of lake where everything pointed to his left, stays focused on the left, and eradicates everything on Mike Adkins, his right, our left. If he wins that. So Soul Reaver infantry, cavalry, 2 zombie regiments, a Rev Cav troop, and a dragon can take out those 4 units, right?
Yeah, I agree.
He makes that happen. And he prevents any unit strength from getting over the board on the other side with everything he has pointed that way now. Yeah. If he can be sort of decisive with that, that's a win. Now, catapults dropping bombs on any of those exposed units feels a little scary to me. But we'll see. Does the vampire kill the flying mummy in one turn?
I don't believe so, because he's defense 5, right?
But there's
with wing.
on that vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be 14 attacks, 3s and 3s. Yeah. And it's a -16, I think, for the Pharaoh.
It's sketchy.
Oh,
he should
the
do it.
vampire is a dueling blade?
No, they just
vampires
have
have duelists. The vampires have duelist stock.
Oh, they do have duelists. Look at that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's that cool
The more
rule
you
that never
do,
comes
the
up
more you
and
know.
finally came up.
I love the rule duelist. I think it just makes things so fun.
Yeah.
Adds a little extra something. You
Yeah.
know.
My favorite is duelist on Magma and Juice and the goblins.
Maybe because you play goblins.
Yeah. Magma is my favorite unit in the goblin list.
Yeah. I just like the fact that there's something called mop ups, and that's all I need. I don't play goblins, but I like mop ups. That just sounds fun.
I think I'm going to use the Maw Pops as a basis for my hack paws. Maw Beast. Not Maw Pops. Yeah, Maw Beasts, basically. Use the Goblin Maw Beast Riders and flea bags. Flea bags.
Yeah, flea bags.
Yeah.
Oh, we got dragon movement. We have movement.
That's kind of where I expected him to go, because of the way that the Soul Reaver Cav is that they were going to move out of his line of sight next turn if he stayed put.
Yeah.
He's just keeping an eye on him. He was sitting there with his giant undead flying worm, keeping an eye, and they moved. So now he's just sitting on a tree.
He's just watching. He's just like chilling up there in his trees, just like, where'd they go? Oh, over there.
And it's a really powerful position if he can keep them honest. I almost wish he had sort of kept over on that side, and found a way to make flanks almost unavoidable.
Because the dragon's still out of charge range of the Soul Reaver Cap, isn't it?
Nope, it's just towed in.
Okay. So it pretty much it's forcing Mike to commit on that side.
To move at least, right? Back up or go forward, right?
Yeah.
Nope. Brenton disappeared. He's gone forever.
Oh. Well, he's gone. I can talk about him because he tried to tell me on Facebook that The Shield was an equal quality show as The Wire.
I've never seen either of these shows. I'm not emotionally invested in this conversation.
Yeah, me neither.
Sorry, what did I say?
we were having I was trying to continue the discussion we were having on Facebook about The Wire versus The Shield.
The Wire's better, right?
Yeah, it is. Wire's one of the best shows ever made.
So what's the disagreement?
I think we were trying to create disagreement, but we don't really know that show, so it didn't work.
So we were just like, we're not I was like, I'm not emotionally invested in this conversation.
Yeah, so this stemmed out of the fact that I worked at a company many years ago that made a video game of The Wire.
Okay.
And it is awful.
It sounds
it's one of the worst things I have ever shipped, and it's sort of laughably bad. So I still plan to. I need to find it, but I was possibly going to make Jake play it as part of the drive and review one of the worst things I've ever worked on. So that was my goal.
Yeah, because he's doing his fundraiser, right?
Yeah, I was going to make him play one really bad game and one good game that I worked on and see how that goes. So.
I like this. I like this a lot. Yeah, I can't remember all the things for what his price points were. I can't remember what it was for a game. I'd have to look.
All that matters is that proved Nick Williams is a very, very bad man for what he has asked for. So we'll see.
What did he ask for?
I'm not going to get into it here.
Okay.
Nick's particular tastes and requests, but it's fun. We'll see how Jake reacts to it. So.
Oh, I love it. I am ready.
So, what do we think so far?
Things have done a few things.
Yeah, just kind of inching up.
Yeah, I like the
Still
replacement of the
hasn't committed
jump.
on the right side. I mean,
I know,
I think that those rev cap need to, the one he just moved, need to just go into the zombies and have the Soul Reaper cap behind him.
Like, go.
Yeah.
Shoo. No, not 1.3.
Yeah,
don't pivot. Sorry.
Well, they're shambling anyways, so they're not
they
going
don't-
to be able to move more than 8 anyways. So
No, but he
the
could
pivot
charge.
doesn't matter that much. He could have charged, but I don't know if I like that yet. I actually think it's better to just have them pin back a little bit. I would like to see that Rev Cav push the full 8 inches at least, though.
right.
Yeah, like go.
So we're not doing phrasing anymore.
Sorry, what's that, Brenton?
We're not doing phrasing anymore. Push the full 8 inches.
I love
Was
our-
anyone else besides
I
you
love
ever
our-
doing that, Brenton? Oh,
That's kind of how I feel about this game right now.
go.
No, you yawned.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need another coffee. I had one ice cap, but that was not enough.
What's an ice cap?
I feel like this game needs
So
a
did-
beer.
Sorry, what?
I said
What's
I
an
feel like
ice
this
cap?
game needs a beer.
I need the beer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a beer and then I'm gonna fall asleep. Just take a nap.
Yeah. So
I learned how to-
for Dan,
Yeah.
for Dan in the crowd, I'm drinking a wonderful Coke Zero. It's got hints of caramel color and phosphoric acid, and the aspartame comes through just a little as an aftertaste. It's a good local brewery out of Coca-Cola bottlers in Atlanta, or some associated version of it. So I suggest you.
Oh wow.
I'm right there with you with the
Oh, see,
the silver bullet.
I am drinking fresh tap water out of an old pasta jar because I am from the Pacific Northwest and we drink out of jars.
Yeah, I don't know what cruel person took all your glasses, but
I actually,
have
well,
both?
you know those beautiful fishbowl cups? I broke one of them, and then so now I have like perfect, not a perfect amount. So a lot of them end up dirty all the time. And those are all the cups I own.
what's Rashad doing here?
I have no idea. I don't like it. He's
I don't
taken away a lot of his charge options by doing so. It's just not a good move, I don't think.
I am confused. What doing? I feel like having Soul Reaver Cav and stuff like that is such like when I see that on the other side of the table, it normally spooks me a little bit.
Okay,
And I feel like being
proves
there,
that
that doesn't
combat.
spook me.
Oh,
we've
there's
got
9 wounds to a catapult, or no, 6 wounds to a catapult.
Yeah, I
Their
think
defense
6.
5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're only 4.
Oh, and double ones for the reroll.
Well then,
I don't know if he actually busted it in the first roll, anyways.
they're -11.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he rolled a 5 and a 6 is 11. Oh, they counted
You're
him as
only
9
defense
wounds.
4.
Yeah, okay, so they are 9 wounds. So he did
Oh,
bust
they're
it.
only defense 4. Okay.
Yeah, so he
Yeah,
did
they're
bust
only
it.
defense 4.
There we go.
It's not the
It's
not the abyssal dwarf cannons that you're used to having to fight. These are the
Yeah.
sort of normal ones.
Well, even the Ratkin war machines now are defense 5, so that's why I was kind of surprised. Okay, Mike's turn 3.
Oh, look, shocking. The vampire is charging the pharaoh. I am
Yeah.
a shock.
Yeah, is that your surprised face?
Very surprised. TM. This is I've patented this
The
surprise.
thing is, so you've distracted that vampire. Cool.
Okay.
You need to be in a position when you do that to capitalize. And
Right.
Rashad sort of is, but let's see what happens. So
Yeah, this infantry unit does have some targets. Looks like he might just be in on the gore blight. He is. He's towed in on the gore
he has
blight
the
there
gore
too.
blight.
Let me know when you're active.
what about
Wait, sorry, can I
the
ask?
zombies?
Was I being a dum-dum? Did I miss something? They didn't surge the RevCav troop into.
He doesn't have surge.
He couldn't. The Pharaoh was the only guy with surge.
Yeah, the Pharaoh went and punched
Oh,
the catapult.
I don't love this.
I don't mind this position, right? Because there's not like the gore blight. I can't see it, so it's only the zombie unit, really. I guess, and maybe the trolls that can charge it. And actually, if you double commit there, I actually like that better. If I'm Rashad, I don't like it as much if he just goes with the zombies, especially since it might break that unit when it's already got 4 wounds on it. I don't know.
mean, what's the disadvantage of double charging from Mike's side into that, and then gore blighting up the soul reaver in the back?
Does it have range? What's the charge range on it? Oh yeah, it's 12 too, right?
12.
Yeah, so you can see them too.
But Gorblight's
Is the
only height
Gorblight
3.
Strider? Is he only height 3? Can he see over the hill?
He can't see over the hill.
Oh, he's only height 3.
Yeah, Gorblight's only height 3.
There's zombies.
So he would be hindered at, well, if you can't see, I mean.
Yeah, and it's height 5 for that hill anyways because of the difficult terrain on it, right?
Yeah.
See, now I wonder, like, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Makes me wonder why that Goreblight isn't at least towed onto that hill so he can see through it.
Yeah. That's why I was just thinking, like, why wouldn't you go up a little farther so you could see?
I don't even think the Goreblight can see the red cap troop on the right either.
So Rashad's saying he made a mistake measuring and on the rev cap, but they're not going back now. But I don't know what.
They're within range of the zombies.
Ah!
But to be honest, if I'm Rashad, I like that. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, YOLO.
The only thing is, I would have liked to have that Rev Cav be pushed up farther so he's not getting as far up the battlefield by doing so.
Yeah.
So if you go for full 8, then that's... Cause I only think he moved 3 or 4 ranges.
Yeah, it was like 2.8 or something like that. I don't think it was a full 3. It's interesting.
Now we're getting somewhere, right?
Well, that's he can see that unit with the Soul Reaver Cav barely.
But they're he can't because they're being blocked by the Rev Cav. They're both height 3.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's now Mike's at the point where he's really hemming up the Soul Reaver cavalry. I think Ashley wants to get her.
No, I'm back.
Okay.
We finally found what will make the zombie block move.
Yeah.
You just need to literally come up to their house and knock on the door, and they will come out and say hi, but nothing before that.
Mr. Necromancer, can the zombies come out and play?
Please, Mr. Necromancer. I feel like I just echoed through someone else's mic, and that sounded really weird with my weird kid voice. Yeah. Oh, it's warm in here again.
Both of these guys have range on this Rev Cav unit. Don't know if I like that though. And the Soul Reaver Cav too, for that matter. But obviously he's not going to be able. Oh, he could fit a triple charge on there too, couldn't he?
Yeah.
What size are rates in this edition?
These guys are 125. The rates are 20s. So that's 100 mil.
You get 2.5 mil either side. Get in there.
Yeah, all 3 then.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that get you though? It gets you your two best units potentially charged by Soul Reaver Infantry and Soul Reaver Cavalry, unless you can do maneuvering post charge that prevents that.
Yeah.
Also, you get a dragon in the flank, right?
And
Wang.
zombies.
Maybe. I actually don't think so, because this is where the 20 lands are.
Okay, so you,
But it is both Soul Reaver.
if it's a triple, they're pushed way over. But you still have the problem of a unhindered Soul Reaver Infantry, because that's the Pathfinder one on the left, and then an under cavalry into your two best units, and that feels whack.
So, Brenton, on your fear of horses, I have a question. Are you afraid of like just horses, or like what about like donkeys? Do you find that
Donkeys are fine.
Pardon? Donkeys are fine?
Donkeys are fine.
Okay. Just horses and unicorns.
Well, unicorn is just a horse with a prison shiv. So
I mean, you're not wrong, but I was just so donkeys are fine. That's good.
Donkeys are fine. Weirdly, like mini horses, like the little ones, they're cute. They're fine.
Okay, if you said you didn't like them, we were gonna have some problems.
We all gotta love little Sebastian. And then
Bye, little Sebastian.
Just to fully clarify, Unicron from the Transformers movie is on my good side as well, not to be confused with unicorns.
I think horses are weird because they have human-like teeth.
Okay, what about zebras?
Fine.
Okay, cool. So
really, because they're just straight horses
with stripes.
I think I led with it's irrational.
That is definitely. You did caveat that for sure.
It's just, and I understand that, like, I have a fear of them. They sense my fear. They act differently around me. I see them acting differently around me. I get more scared, and that's sort of a vicious cycle. But it doesn't matter. I just don't. I'm just, they creep me out.
So don't take Brenton horseback riding. Got it.
I was at camp as a little kid, and we had to do horseback riding, and I absolutely refused. And they said, if you don't do horseback riding, you have to clean all of the dinner dishes for the week. And I was like, show me to the kitchen.
Part of me is like, can I threaten you with this as well so you'll clean my dishes? Because that'd be great.
But I mean, they're lovely creatures, and there's a lot of people who absolutely love horses, and I have no problem with that. I'm just not one of them.
You're just irrationally afraid of them.
Yeah. But
there's something we're all irrationally afraid of.
I'm afraid of birds.
Birds are dumb anyways.
Actually, I think they're very pretty as long as they are in paintings or not close enough to fly into my hair, because I'm just afraid of them flying into my hair.
So one of the differences between this mirror match is the fact that Adkins did bring Surge.
Yeah.
So the Goreblight is just going to wander his way up there, doesn't care about no line of sight, get into a flank, and surge that bad boy in.
Also,
Cloak of Death.
Cloak of Death.
I just love the name of that.
Yeah, by the way, what has Morgoth been doing this whole damn time?
I kind of forgot there was a Morgoth.
Hanging out.
Yeah, he's been just babysitting the lights, I guess.
I guess with only 7, he's no longer able to do Morgoth things.
Is it? And that's the question, Mike. Is it really? Is it not having that extra movement and a little extra drain life? Was that the perfect nerf? Is he now back to normal?
Is this the matchup that is going to determine whether or not it was all worth it? Really?
I'm just saying that, like any other game, Morgoth turn 1 is in your shit.
Yeah,
and
he's all behind your butt and drain light thing, and now he wants to.
So there's an old sort of sports like coverage cliche, at least especially with soccer, but it shows up in other things, which is when you're this deep into the game and we're at the bottom of 3 and you haven't mentioned something, it means they're not having the effect they should.
Right.
And we are at the bottom of 3 and we just remembered Morgoth is on the board.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I said I totally forgot it was even a component in this list.
I mean, he could still come up clutch. That's a good little piece to have in that face-off, but
and I guess we are only at the bottom of 3, so there is still 3 turns left to play.
So Mike's moving to shooting, going at the Revenant Cav in the center.
Yeah.
Some shit done.
Into Rev Cav.
Maybe.
Contemplating it. Discussing it thoroughly.
okay, so we have 2 catapults, dropping bombs. Actually, it's back to movement. He just remembered he had Morgoth too. It's like, oops.
Yeah.
Forgot.
See, even he forgot.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't really done anything with that, the Cav or the whites on that side.
Yeah, he forgot his own right flank. He's
Yeah.
like, I haven't done anything with these guys for so long. I forgot they were here.
There's this big old contingent of ghosty boys over here that need to do stuff.
So then the question becomes, if we hadn't seen how this developed and you just walked up to this board state, which side of the board would you take? You have that choice.
Like the units and everything that's on them and everything that's happened.
Yep.
You just get to assume Adkins or Rashad.
Yeah. And the
scenario being invade, I would pick Rashad.
Yeah. I think he's in a better.
Yeah, I think I'd go Rashad just for because even if, for where we are with invade, I'd take the bottom.
So that's the thing. We've been sort of criticizing some of Rashad's play and positions here, but it sounds like from the panel that you would all rather be in his shoes right now.
Absolutely.
If that's true,
we don't have to agree with his decisions on how he got here.
So,
and Sean says Mike by far.
Larry also takes Mike.
So
I mean, the people in this region pick him. And we have, or close to his region, and then we have.
I don't know actually who won the dice roll to see where, who was playing what side, but I do agree with you. Actually, if Rashad won the roll off and gave Mike that side, that would be a mistake in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I agree with. Again, someone, and this is actually a practical thing. I don't mean to joke too much about this, but there's a lot going on in a game of Kings of War, and people will sometimes forget the point of the scenario for a turn, and it could be a critical turn. And I have seen people have a little sheet of notes in front of them, and they will write in giant block letters the scenario, and then and don't forget brutal, and don't forget, whatever else.
I remember playing when I first started playing Kings, I would write on I'd cut a little piece of a cue card and write has ensnare, and then put it behind the unit, just on the table, this little piece of paper, so that I would not forget that in the middle of the game. Because nothing worse than getting to the bottom of 4 and being oh right, I forgot that roll the whole time.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bits of pre-game prep I saw, and some people can just do this in their head and it's fine, but I think it helped, and the reason I don't do this is because I'm lazy and won't win. But they picked up my list, like I handed their copy of the list to them, and they just went down through it real quick and just wrote next to every unit, hindered and unhindered expected wounds against defense 5. So just a quick, like a number next to all my units. So when he looked at my army, he has this list in front of him, and without doing the math in his head and extra stuff, he could just say, this is how much I'll do to it. This is how much it'll do to me in a charge hindered and unhindered, just a block of numbers. And I was just like, watching them do that, it took 2 minutes, whatever it was at the beginning, just straight down the line real quick. And then he had that for the rest of the game as a reference. And I was like, okay.
That's a great idea.
That is a really good idea.
And that was Eric Trowbridge before Future Master, but this was a few years ago.
I think the funniest part of that, though, would be like being a little too drunk by the end of Saturday and fucking up the math. And then all of a sudden, like, saying, this is a great idea. Yeah, you charge that. And then you look and you're like, oh, I have made a mistake. This is a great... My math is definitely wrong here, folks. I'm just...
All right. So they've got each other thinking a lot. It's a little surprising to me that it's actually only the bottom of turn 3.
And we've been doing this for... Yeah, I was going to say we're almost 2 hours in at the bottom of 3. Dun, dun, na, 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 na.
Okay. So is he done moving over there? Has he figured this out yet?
I don't think so. He's moving more Goth and the Soul Reaver Cav at the moment. So he just basically backed up the Soul Reaver Cav a bit, looks like.
Yeah, he's got to keep out of that dragon range. God forbid anyone on that side fights.
Yeah. It's just 600 points of, blender. Well, I would want to get them and suck in combat.
I mean, that's the reality. It's a very delicate position they're in, and whoever loses sort of a key part of that first is going to get overwhelmed.
Oh, guys, we're on to the balefire phase.
The dice is rolling. I hit.
3.
3.
3.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's only got 2 shooting at him this time, so.
1. 4.
Oof.
4.
Whoa. 7 spot.
7.
That's solid.
Mm-hmm.
Anything inspiring? Okay, so that Revenant Cav.
Is that weakness? Does Morgoth have weakness? No, that's Mind Fog.
Yeah, it's Mind Fog.
Interesting.
All right, nerve.
And
a 3.
Yeah.
So.
And was what? Just hoping for a lucky double 6 on the.
Yeah, I think he was hoping for.
Yeah.
God,
So
I mean, really low percentage plays that I'm like, I'm glad you remember to do that because it might happen, but also shouldn't Morgoth be doing more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He forgot to surge into the Gorblight.
Yep. Wait, surge.
Wait.
Stop, surge.
I think he got it.
You got it.
Surge and destroy.
And
that should be the end of that unit.
Was the Gorblight towing the difficult when it started that surge?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's centered.
It's a zombie, so what does that mean? It's hitting on 5s?
Yeah, it's hitting on 5s.
No, so I think
actually.
So I think we started over here with the Pharaoh combat. Oh. I think did it dead?
13? No, I think it might be a dash 14.
18.
Oh no, I think he is dead. That's
Yeah.
15, right?
That's a 15.
The mighty pharaoh was
Wavered.
wavered.
Yeah, 14, 16. Wow, he's got good nerve.
Yeah, that's really good.
I mean, their job is basically to be a big punching bag, so they need the
Oh.
nerve.
Cowards is his wavered flag. That's great.
Yeah, on the board, I have little chicken icons that I use for wavered. Okay, what fight is going on now?
These zombies here on this RevCav unit.
Yeah, get them.
We've got another
Got
one
one
on him.
wound. So now I guess it's the Gore Blight.
Yeah,
11
Gore
attacks.
22.
Oh no, that was yeah. Holy cow, 22. Yeah.
Yeah, we
We
sit
got
on 5.
7.
5, so 7. Yeah. 2.
One.
4 wounds. 4 wounds. Holy cow. And another 5.
Yeah, I think
6. Okay.
plus
That's
a
enough.
5.
Reroll.
Yeah, I like
Twice.
twice. Dead.
Twice.
I think that's
3
it.
times a lady.
There they go. That was your bulb.
So the question is, like, those units can get beat up by what is facing them from Rashad's side. Like, he can send stuff in that can kill, but there are 2 zombie trolls with a surge caster waiting to exploit any angle.
Yeah.
Do we feel they're in a position? I feel like that back zombie troll, the one in the far right, is in a perfect position to sort of sneak over and surge into something.
Sneaker. I think it's also to note the zombie regiment into the RevCav. Not surprisingly, not killing them, but rolling double 1s. So, Mike got some double 1s out of his system.
Yeah, get her over when it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Got it out of his system now. Hopefully there won't be any more for him. I truly believe that dice have so many double 1s to give us.
Yeah, except it doesn't really work that way.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, that's enough out of you.
So
I'm just sort of wondering, was Mike aggressive enough in his positioning with those zombie trolls to exploit whatever the counterattack is from Rashad? Because Soul Reaver infantry and Soul Reaver cavalry, with any damage already on those trolls, they can break them in a turn, and that's what he has to avoid. But it feels bad for Rashad on that side.
But then, do you think it would have been better if he'd just been more aggressive on that right flank?
Who's he in this?
I mean, Rashad. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think from the beginning he needed to pick a side he was going to crush, left or right, and throw everything that direction.
He was just a turn late and a push up, and it wasn't far enough.
So we're over to Rashad's 4, and we're looking at right now. We are still even with unit strength, 19 apiece. Rashad's is just a little more condensed in 9 units, and Mike has 12 left.
Okay, the dragon's on the move, right back to where he was before.
Oh,
I like this spot better.
I don't mind this dance though. It really is delaying all of Mike's stuff, kind of pinned back a bit.
Yeah, but if Mike wins on Rashad's right, he doesn't mind dancing.
Sean's asking, did they do the comment on the far right? If you're talking about the zombies into the rev cab, then yes.
Yeah, they did only 2
Yeah,
wound
They
and
just
didn't break.
and rolled double ones. So yeah. I like how it's like, I fly my dragon back and forth. I fly my dragon back and forth.
I think that dragon should be getting closer to that rev cav unit to force the issue. I think just going in is not. It's just not.
So, I'm not saying right or wrong, but he has definitely been giving a lot of respect to that race troop.
Yeah, how many points is a race troop?
Staying out of its charge
120
range.
points.
Yeah, I think 125 or 120. Yeah,
120. I just looked. So it's like 120 points. It's just holding off this big flying dragon boy.
So what he is trying to do is he is trying to play with the range difference and threaten the Soul Reavers while staying out of the Wraith Troops charge range. With that additional, whatever it is, like 8 or 6 inches. How fast are Wraith Troops now? 7?
There are 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got 6 inches of additional range on his charge that he's trying to put the Soul Reavers into that zone of being able to be flanked without getting the charge from the Wraiths, but like they've just been kind of dancing around that. Because I think it would be bad if the Wraiths ground that and the Soul Reavers follow up, basically turn to put them in charge range of the grounded dragon. Then the Soul Reavers are getting across the board, pull something, and get a big bonus out of that. So he's been avoiding that, but not really accomplishing a lot.
So these zombies look like they should be doing what zombies are supposed to do, and they're chaff. They should be basically moving up aggressively to kind of force some issues over here on this left.
I think
he did it with the rev
he's trying to save them as unit strength.
Yeah,
I think he's got
that. But it doesn't. Their unit strength actually doesn't matter that much if Mike doesn't get anything over on the other side.
Yep. Now here they go. They're going into the gap. They're going into the zone of uncertainty. He just needs to push the pace over there because he's in danger of losing both sides.
Yeah, he's kind of losing the right, so he's got to get more aggressive on the left.
Yeah.
This Soul Reaver cab unit is in such a bad spot right now.
Yeah, it's for, and with Rashad not pushing that Rev Cab troop up the full 8. I mean, it didn't do it. It's not. It gives Mike a little bit more wiggle room.
So it looks like Ashley left for her maple syrup injection.
Yeah.
Yep.
The black market maple syrup transaction.
Just inject between the toes. You can't see the track marks. So, this is a really funny game because there is so much combat power that is not fought yet.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's between both of them, there are 3 Revenant Cav regiments, 2 Revenant Cav troops. You know, all those high-powered meat grinder blenders units that have just been dancing. It's like a couple of heavyweight fighters that are just kind of dancing around and not doing much.
Yeah. And that's sort of that's kind of a good analogy, which is both of them have knockout power, right? Like both sides have the ability to set.
They're not. Yeah, when you think of heavyweight boxing, you're thinking of dudes that are just going to meet in the middle and throw haymakers, but just more like a super lightweight fight where we're just kind of dancing around.
I just because the simple sort of math and the bad thing is any of these hammers that get a double charge, whoever it is. They crack what they hit. And once they crack what they hit, when you're looking at either side on our left, Mike Atkins' right, what we're looking at is their Soul Reaver infantry, Soul Reaver cavalry. If he can ground that dragon and Mike can double charge either of those hammers, then like he's ahead in the race and is winning that peace trade.
Right.
On the other side, the same is true. If Rashad can push up aggressively and get any kind of multi-charge into either of Mike's two hammers, he starts winning that peace trade. And that's the stalemate that they've been dancing around. And I just don't think Rashad's been aggressive enough pushing things into a position to force Mike into bad choices. So,
Right.
The Pharaoh just regen 4 wounds.
yeah.
So I just don't know. So I like the fact that Rashad still got Mike in positions to struggle to get across center, but I just don't know how Rashad kind of takes advantage of the pressure. Like what pressure he had before is now all gone on the right by that mistake by moving the rev cab up too far.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like he moved them into the wrong spot. Like if you'd moved them further or charged, you're putting them back. If you move them less, they're not charging you. It like literally any other choice I think would have been better. So
does this Soul River infantry unit, does it charge the Gorblight at this point? Does he kill the Gorblight at that point?
And it's because he'll be hindered, but also elite. But that dash 17 is a tough net to crack.
It's just the issue there is then he gets doubled by trolls, possibly in the flank with the surgy one on our far right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I think the problem there, Mark, is that he was not expecting to be charged there. He mismeasured the zombies as 8 inches charged, not 10 inches.
Yeah. But if Rashad does nothing with that unit, then he's getting double charged by the Gorblight and the zombies, which gets them further close to the line.
Yeah, the withdrawing there doesn't help. He's got to just put some wounds on just take his lumps and put some wounds on those zombies.
Yeah.
But he won't crack them, right?
No, he won't.
Right.
But there's no point backing up and doing nothing either, right? He might as well.
I'm saying what happens next turn.
Yeah. I don't think those zombies break the Rev Cav the turn after either. But at least now the Rev Cav have enough space to be able to do something. Maybe.
The Soul Reavers, you mean? Or
yeah, they're still pinned. It's all bad on that side.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, Jeremy. If he had charged that zombie block and pinned it back there, everything would be back. Instead, he tried to do a little bit of finesse move and got caught on it. So,
okay, Soul Reavers are going in.
Looks like they're just gonna destroy the zombies and turn to face center and kind of take their lumps, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets doubled by the trolls and the Gorblight, but he should be able to pivot so it's not a flank.
Yeah, and then all the trolls would be hindered at that point, so that's actually not that bad. I don't think even with all 3 of them being hindered, I don't think actually he breaks that Soul Reaver unit.
Do the trolls furthest to our left, wouldn't they go in to the right of the Gorblight?
Yes. So all 3 can get in, yes.
The third one doesn't have.
Oh, that's what you're saying. It depends on how he faces them, because it's going to be a parallel line drawn out from their facing. So if he's going to pivot to make them all front, I think at that point this unit will be on the left. But it's going to completely depend on how he faces them.
So that's the tricky thing is you want the other trolls don't have arc and might have a hard time surging in. It depends on the distance, but they could surge in, I think.
Yeah.
Zombie trolls are 6 movement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that necromancer's what, surge 10?
6.
Oh, he's only surge 6?
Yeah.
Oh, they're actually pretty safe then there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would take a Netso surge roll to get them.
So what they're looking at is a zombie troll and a gore blight double, which isn't good. It's not friendly.
It's not bad though.
It's good. It's not likely that they're going to be taken off.
If the trolls are unhindered, it could be rough.
Yeah, I think he can pivot it to make it so that they can charge in by going straight ahead. Although he could use the necromancer to avoid the terrain.
Yeah. So necromancer makes them unhindered. What are we actually looking at here?
That's here.
Rev cabin to the wraiths. They put a 2 spot on them.
And they're what, dash 12?
Yeah, need a 10 twice to take them off.
Yeah. That'd be really nice. Nope. I don't think it matters that much because it's kind of blocking up these whites anyways.
Yeah. Because they're also blocking line of sight because they won't be able to see over anything.
Vampire on vampire violence for sure. It's too bad that one can't quote on there. Oh crap! That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, that's
looks like only 4 wounds though.
4 wounds, crushing 2.
Yeah, you get our blade of slashing reroll.
Oh, 5.
5.
Not enough.
He's good now. So this is the Soul Reaper infantry on the zombies.
Yeah.
It's like 12 hits.
Yeah, they were hindered, right? 10 hits?
They're hindered. Yeah. But he's got elite, so they got 2.
Yeah. 8 wounds.
7.
They're dash 14. That's enough. They're not inspired, are they?
Okay, what did I miss? Good shit? I hope good shit.
We got fighting.
There's dice rolling.
Ooh, yeah. I see.
Yeah, I think that the zombies are toast.
Yeah, it looks a little toasted. Also, don't worry, I made my maple syrup trade was successful.
Okay.
I went and got some maple syrup. Apparently, it's not so bad. Okay, I don't know how Brindley took a shot of maple syrup before. That was not delicious.
No, it's not.
Like the Steen and Super Troopers where they have the maple syrup chug.
I definitely just got diabetes.
So they tried to measure out whether it was inspiring, couldn't tell, and then did a D6 on it.
That looks out to me.
Yeah, it was out.
Well, that's what
they decided anyways, yep. Praise God.
So now let's see the pivot.
That would have been really bad if he didn't break that unit. But yeah, the pivot's going to... I don't think there's any place he can pivot to make this guy in the front that actually doesn't put these guys to the left.
In the flank, right?
Yeah.
Well, the fear is he needs to cut off that gore blight moving X number of inches forward and then just pivoting to a flank. So he needs to be something like that where he's blocking their line.
Yeah. It's actually a really good placement for him.
Yeah, it looks like the right spot.
Even that's not bad because he can't approach within an inch when he's making that move, right? So if you just make him have to pivot once, you're okay.
And that's why those nimble that's why those nimble surgible units are so scary, because they just kind of turn, go around you, return, and then they're in your flank.
Nothing going there. That's a slap fight over there.
Mm-hmm.
They're just hitting each other with little sticks that are actually like femurs.
Well,
Just
the
for
life
fun.
on both those units is the funny part, right?
Just for funsies, Dan. The whites, they're not at all in arc of the Soul Reaver infantry to the far right. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Otherwise, that'd be all kinds of bad.
Yeah.
I just think that would be funny.
It is possible for him to kind of move them in a position and go for a double surge, right? Because I think both the Necro and the Morgoth could reach.
Yeah, but that's a really long. That's a railhead. You need that triple surge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 7's there.
So interesting of note, all catapults will be firing this turn.
Very true.
Catapult.
So you can go for the Soul Reaver infantry in the center.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's a great dunk target. It's just 3 shots on that infantry or the cavalry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they ignore cover, right? So they don't give a shit. Looks like he's setting up to combo charge the zombie trolls and with the zombie regiment into the Revenant Cav troop on the right flank there.
Yep.
Not that unexpected. I'm actually a little bit surprised. Like, I know Mike needs to get those zombie trolls up, but and I guess that's really the motivation of it. Because otherwise, it's kind of good to have these guys pinned because it keeps the Soul Reaver Cav out of combat. This is actually giving Soul Reaver something to do.
I think he might be hoping that he can move the zombie trolls back after pushing them and move the zombies forward.
Yeah, you have to get the zombies up in his corral.
The zombies have to go quite a ways forward to block off that channel, though.
I think if the trolls move back and the zombies move forward, it's not that far.
No, because I think also he has to make, because he doesn't have as much far, like he can't turn too far with the board edge being there too, right?
Yeah.
For cap. So I think he's got.
I mean, I'm thinking it's maybe a 3, like a 3 would get them there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
You mean a combined 3, so like one of them getting a 2 and the other one getting a?
Yeah, I'm just looking at just the zombies coming forward and even ignoring the trolls moving back. Is that?
So I would definitely probably roll the zombies first, see how far forward they go, and then readjust the trolls, like whether they need to go back or what have you to take out that lane.
This is a nice, easy flank charge for these zombie trolls.
Yeah, what do you need on the surge? Like
2
inch? 2?
A 2, yeah.
2.
Twosie?
So he can put the Gorbolite into the front.
Yeah.
And that the zombie trolls on the side is gonna
that's gonna hurt.
Oh no, don't take these backsies.
This might be a question of like, hey, how did that work?
Yeah.
They might be discussing, but
no, I don't want takesies backsies. My hands are sticky from the syrup.
I mean, I personally think it is too easy with the way the current rules feel, and maybe I'm not playing them exactly correctly, but to flank charge with surge from a sort of frontal position, where you just sort of move into their flank and then hit a corner, and by hitting that corner, it feels
flush, yeah. So
yeah.
So if you're that, like, because like to me, their starting position didn't feel like they should be getting this easy of a flank. But hey, it's there. So.
Yeah.
So what we're
I
saying
searched
here is Surge is dirty.
Yep.
And melted cheese.
So I play a lot of different armies, and at the moment I am playing Kingdoms of Men and sort of dwarves. So Surge is broken and dirty when I'm playing Kingdoms of Men, and Surge is entirely fair and reasonable when I'm playing dwarves. So I'm capable of that moral flexibility.
Apparently that's the mind. I can't. I got nothing. I thought I had a good quip and I did not.
Like whatever army I am playing, it is not broken.
I see where this undead echo chamber comes from. I'm just kidding.
Yep.
I've like never played an army with Surge, and I don't know if I would just probably like pay for Surge and then fuck everything up and not use it. Probably where I would be.
Yeah, it's the math and the angles. I'm not good enough at it, so I just.
The thing is, though, with undead and certain armies, there are certain armies that run on Surge, and you have to get good with it to win.
Yeah,
undead right now don't feel like that. You can play a bunch of Surge units just straight on their stats. You'll do okay.
Right. You can play whites and
I don't know what Mike's doing here. Could he see that Pharaoh before he charged? Because he didn't have the room to do the individual pivot.
Okay. Zoom in a little bit for me, Dan. So we're talking the one with 5 going there.
Yeah,
Where did
he was
start?
facing like this.
he was more perpendicular.
He was perpendicular.
He was perpendicular to this guy.
So
to the vampire lady.
Well, he's yeah.
He didn't have room to pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry kind of agrees with me there. That one seemed a bit fishy to me. But they're okay with it, so whatever.
So we keep our hands tied. As we learned yesterday, we went through it again. It's not our place. However, when the TO was watching, it was his place. Yeah. It was a rules issue. Not our place.
That poor Soul Reaver infantry is going to take 3 catapults.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could see definitely, but it wasn't in the front arc.
Alrighty. Team. Oh my goodness. I think you forgot to say Mike Adkins cheating scandal revealed. Dash 28 tells all.
That's right.
Click here for more.
We're gonna do clickbait articles now, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna drag him out on his own site. I got the article written already.
Oh.
I did do one clickbaity article for fun because right before Masters, Jake was trying to say like, okay, we need Masters coverage. Everyone write something. I'm like, I don't want to write anything, so I just wrote a clickbaity article that was like.
So Sean, individual doesn't mean you can charge 360 degrees. What it does mean is you get a free pivot before you declare your charge. You still have to put stuff in your front arc.
Yeah, so you get a free pivot to get something in your front arc to go. Yeah.
I think.
And that's one of those interesting things where I hear people say things like, he'll do his, like they have a 360 degree charge. And like most of the time that is correct. And it is a shorthand we use to describe the power of an individual. But it's not actually a 360 degree charge. It's they have the ability to change facing, which usually means that. But in certain weird situations like this, it doesn't.
Right,
well, that's because we're
of the
looking
cavalry
at
base.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say it's the cavalry base because if you're on the perfect square, it really does mean you can charge anywhere because you just turn in a circle.
Yeah.
All the
and individuals don't block out his sight, so you know if you're in combat with an individual, really get out of the way.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I don't care about you.
Reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, take that, mounted individuals.
Ha. Oh, that's a book.
So I don't know how Rashad moved this dragon again and not actually even threaten this Soul Reaver cavalry unit. I just
You know what I'm living for here? I'm just living for the fact that we are gonna get to 5, and that dragon has not gone into combat with anything.
he's
Right.
barely
That dragon
lifted.
is barely left his opponent,
It's
though.
danced back and forth for 4
This is
turns.
see, it's the I fly my dragon back and forth. I fly my dragon back and forth, and he just goes side to side.
Looks like he's got 3 wounds on the Soul Reverse with the first catapult.
Okay.
Yep, 3. 4.
Donk.
No, 3, because it's on 3s, right? They're only pierced 2.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right.
Ooh, 2 hits with the second one. It looks like.
Oh,
That's a dagger.
Oh,
5?
yep. So 3 so far. That's just 3.
And he gets to D3 rerolls. So he gets to reroll the 2. 4.
4 wounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Up to 7.
So now an 8 to break currently. Oh, and he hit again. Oh,
Oh, dirty.
it's a good
Only
thing
twice.
that the number of hits have been low.
Yeah.
But even so, right? That's
More.
ugly.
So
It's
2
a
more
9
wounds.
spot.
6 to break. No,
8 to
6 to
break.
waiver.
7 to break. 6 to waiver.
Yeah.
Is that the nerve roll?
No, I think that was for the 2 wounds.
Oh, right. Okay. I was
And
like,
it looks
scared.
like
I'm like, man, a
maybe-
10? Holy cow. Yeah, Morgoth draining the Rev Kev. Nothing.
And Margaret's doing something.
nope.
Nope, not really. Morgoth just tried to do something.
Morgoth needs to warm up. He was kind of.
Here comes a surge. He needs 2 out of 6
Fine.
dice.
Morgoth the Shameless.
Morgoth needs a little more
Oh,
training.
he didn't make it.
Wow, he whiffed it.
No, he. Oh my.
He whiffed it.
Oh!
They needed a 2.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's an
Well,
interesting development.
Oh. And like that's just there's the dice coming to
Oh,
haunt
my.
you.
Yeah.
So now, do you think? Too bad he couldn't have just. Yeah,
That just
rough. That's rough
saved
because if it was like he was needed like 5 successes, it'd be a little more like, okay, this happens. Shouldn't have relied on it. But getting 2 successes on 6 dice should be reliable.
No, but like not to rub salt and not to be the big jerk. That's like, doesn't Morgoth have surge?
He does, and he could have definitely been in a position to hedge his bet there.
Yep.
Oh, guys, they've got a question for us. So, would he still move forward with a failed surge? So, would he stop within 1 inch? Or would he stop an inch out?
I think he still just moves forward, right? But it's not combat. I think combat's no. I think the movement phase is the only thing where it says that you have to stop 1 inch out.
So you would go the full surge. You Yeah, I think I agree with what Sarah was saying in the comments. I would have moved Morgoth into a place where you could do your drain life second, do the surge first. If the surge fails, use Morgoth for the extra surge.
Yeah, you stop just out of contact from friendly units in blocking terrain. You move into contact with enemy units. It's a successful charge. Yeah, it doesn't say.
So we have some diverging opinions on the chat here. But unless it specifically says, so it doesn't say on surge that he stops 1 inch away, right?
Right.
But it doesn't say he doesn't.
But the problem comes in is the 1 inch rule actually there is no 1 inch rule. There's in the movement phase, you can't approach within 1 inch of an enemy except by charging.
So I think he could move it within the 1 inch, because it's the same with like in a reform, you don't bounce off an inch anymore after a combat kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if something is within an inch during your turn, so if you have a unit that's within an inch of something during your turn, you have to move it. Yeah, when you move it, it has to be more than an inch out. So when you do like overruns, you overrun the full distance. I think it would be along those lines.
Yeah,
So
like you
this is
don't
why-
stop an inch away from them. You go, and then
Yeah, you
the
go
next
the
turn
full-
you would
if you're
have to
all-
either stand still or move away from and land without an inch out. Yeah.
Right.
So this is
Because if you move,
this is
you
my
have to.
reasoning, and then I'll leave it, which is the unit interpenetration section is where the 1 inch is defined. Enemy units, on the other hand, block movement. Your unit must remain at least 1 inch away from them, except when charging, disengaging, or during a pivot. And the surge casting says for each hit, the target friendly move, or for each hit, target friendly shambling unit moves straight forward. So for me, shambling still is covered by the movement 1 inch rule because you are moving it straight forward.
And they just said in the chat that they decided that they stop an inch away.
Okay.
That's
is
my
good.
reading of it. What I think is more important here is that Morgoth should have been there to add an extra surge, because that zombie troll flanking is a game-defining charge, and you don't leave it to chance if you have the ability. Drain lifing that Revenant Cav didn't matter.
Yeah, because it's a 1 in 10. It's a 10% chance of actually failing surge. 2 successes on 6s.
Yeah.
And like, if you have multiple things, or that other thing Morgoth was doing was super important, because putting them over there is putting them in danger. There's a vampire that can charge him. Other stuff can happen. I get that, but you needed that charge. Like, it had to happen.
Yeah.
It certainly hurt a lot for it not to happen, yes.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I would much rather have had Morgoth there. And like we said, even just having Morgoth there, she's still going to have been in a position to do the drain life she did if the surge did not work, or like if the surge went off the first time. If you got your 2 successes, went in, Morgoth could have done something else and still been in position to do it.
So it's one, like, you hear certain things like, I should have made that surge, or you hear, I rolled double ones and then that collapsed my whole battle line. Double ones are even less common, but for something like this, if you have a way to mitigate it, like, you do it. Anyone who's played a game with D10s knows that like a 10% chance comes up all the time.
That's that hope for success but plan for failure.
Exactly.
And there's times you have to accept that risk. Like, Morgoth was doing something critical on the other side of the board. If you move them over to guarantee that surge, then they wouldn't be able to do this other important thing, but that wasn't the case. So.
No, he was just tossing drain life into a unit that's going to pretty much be dead anyways.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like and even then, if you wanted to do it, it's not like it was crazy critical, and he still could have done it if the first surge had worked. And it would have been one of those, like, if he had planned for the first surge to fail and had Morgoth there, it probably would have gone off. Like, one of those stupid karma shit.
Oh, look at these zombies doing 2 wounds. Go zombies.
Go zombie boys.
And now the trolls.
God is the God of Force kind? Okay, the God of Force is fine.
Oh,
Ooh.
Good thing they're vicious.
Yeah.
Or are they? No, yeah, they are. Just barely.
Yeah, they are. Still only an extra wound.
Not that much. That was what, 2 wounds? I think they're crushed 2, right? So 3 wounds.
Crushed 2, so it's 4
wounds.
total. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So 17. That's seven. So that's a 7.
Twice.
One time.
Once? Oh yeah, once.
Yeah, they're not inspired.
And a 9, I'll do it. Oh, yeah, that was the neural the webcap. Okay, it's gonna be like,
So now the positioning here is going to be interesting.
Oh,
That's
Mike
got to
looks
be
like
the forward on the zombies.
yeah, I suspect so. Yep.
And
So
then
then I
back
don't
on the
Yeah.
trolls.
I think he
Yeah.
does move it back, yeah.
Yep, 2.
I still don't like that for the because I think those Soul Reaver Cav beat up those zombies, and I just don't think those trolls beat up the Soul Reaver Cav by themselves.
I do.
You do, eh?
Yeah.
I think they get it.
It's going to be tough, but basically, if the trolls get first charge, they should be able to crack the Soul Reavers in 2 turns.
And
Yeah.
how many turns? Because they've got
2.
life leech too, right?
They have like 2. In average dice, it's what, 6 on.
Oh, they wavered the Soul Reavers
He
in the
double
middle
searched
there.
them?
He forgot to.
He forgot to
Oh,
roll
yeah.
nerve on that from
Oh,
the
yeah,
shoot.
yeah.
Yeah, but he rolled a 5, I think, which was
This
just
is the
enough.
bar.
Five's not a waiver, is it? 11, 16. Oh, that is
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
The thing is, I think there's room for the Soul Reaver Cav to charge right past those front zombies if it wants it. I don't think 2 was enough forward.
Yeah.
I think he needed
Okay.
3.
It's possible. We'll see. Yeah. If he's got the charge on the trolls, he takes it. No question.
Oh, for sure he takes it.
Sharpness trolls on the charge, he's got a
Oh,
chance
yeah.
at breaking them.
That picks him up. Did he waver that unit too?
Yeah, he wavered him with
No.
just the gore blight in the front.
Yeah.
Wow, that's luck.
That
Holy
was Soul
cow.
Reaver infantry, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So he wavered the Soul Reaver infantry with the gold bright in the front without having the zombie trolls in this flank.
Yeah.
For those at home that are not really watching.
6 and 9 is 14. Did they nerf Soul Reaver Cav? Yeah, 15, 17. I think he's playing it wrong.
Where?
6 and 9 is 15. So that's the
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a
that's
waiver.
just enough. That's
Yeah.
a waiver.
We're playing math wrong.
Yeah, I'm playing math wrong, yeah. Send me back to kindergarten.
To
I think
quote
that's like
Jesse
grade 4
Cornwell,
math, which
math is a lie.
who needs math if you rig your dice? That was a joke, people. I don't rig my dice.
The Gorbalite is not brutal. I just looked.
Yeah, he's the only special rule he has is Cloak of Death.
Yeah.
And MVP right now.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's where you
Yeah.
got to make yourself a little banner for on your table and just like put the MVP over certain units once in a while.
Mhm.
To put it over units is actually quite difficult in StreamYard.
No, I meant like in
But
your
yeah,
game. Yeah, like be an asshole to your opponent, put MVP out.
So what does Mike do with his Soul Reaver Cav on the left?
Currently, he's not doing much.
Yeah, they're just hanging out.
Hanging out.
Just chilling.
So the Soul Reaver Cav into the zombie troll should-ish. I'm not doing the full matrix, but should be about a 6 twice to crack them. And what's that like?
Yeah, and they're
60% or something?
yeah, they're not.
It's top of 5. I'm wondering how long it's going to take for us to find out if that Soul Reaver Cav on the right can fit.
Oh, right now apparently.
Right there. Right stat now.
Oh, no, I don't think they can.
No.
See? Just barely
Tim
on.
Horn.
Just a bit outside.
Zoom it in. I want it. There we go. Okay.
Something I do love in Universal Battle is where you can like pivot it to the angle, and then you kind of try and just bumper car through. You're like, does this work? Does this work? Does this work? Does this
Yeah,
work?
just
Yeah, I really wish that when you grabbed a unit to pivot them, that it created lines kind of going parallel to the sides so that you could really make those pivots a lot easier.
It just saved a lot of time. It's like, how many times have you been like, I can get there, and then you're like, hold on, will I do 18 different tries to show you how I can get there?
To make that pivot just right.
So we can probably zoom out a little. I don't know if there's anything else happening on the board.
So here's the thing. Those
finally committed with this dragon.
that Goreblight / zombie troll pair. I mean, they murder the Soul Reaver infantry, great, but they got to get across the board.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
so, the wrong way. Yeah.
Is there anything fun that can start to happen from like Rashad's vampire or anything else? Like what can stop them?
Well, because right now, if I were Mike, I'd be hoping to, like with those wavered Soul Reaver infantry, I wonder if it's like they're gonna probably die. I don't know if you can stop the trolls from really hitting them, but maybe if you can change your placement or anything like that, so that if he does flank charge or front charge, he's gonna have to get a really big overrun to start to head across the table.
It looks like that's Rashad is creating a fence right now to try and keep Mike back.
Yeah, but right now his fence is made of zombies. And it's just zombie fences, not the
Soul Reaver cavalry, though.
Yeah, that Soul Reaver Cav with Headstrong is not going to give a fuck about zombies.
Okay, so the dragon went in. It's doing its thing. It's
And
like now they're in.
finally, it danced with those wraiths for so long, for
So,
4 turns.
Well, the thing was
I think this is okay though, right? Because he, the wraith, the only other wraith troop here, right? It's flank charge onto him, even if it gets there, which is not actually a given. Still doesn't, I don't think, take out this dragon at this point in the game because there's only 2 turns for Mike, right?
The problem was always that at least in my opinion, the problem was always that the wraiths it's engaged with, it's not going to pop those because it's hindered. So it's hitting on 5. It gets grounded by the wraiths in a return attack. And the Soul Reavers, during the turn it gets grounded, set up for a charge against it. That was always the problem previously.
Right.
Now, back to the matter is Soul Reavers don't have time to go kill that thing.
Yeah.
They have to get across the board. So it's kind of like he waited long enough that there's not even like no one's going to be bothered trying to kill that Revenant or Revenant on Flying Worm, and it has the opportunity potentially to finish them off in a turn 7, maybe pivot or bottom of turn 6. Where are we? We're top of 5.
Top of 5.
So like honestly, it's
and Warblade are height 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like turn 7, that Rev King might have a cool charge, but like that's it. Yeah, I just don't. That wavered Soul Reaver infantry is just bombed in the middle. They got dunked on by skulls.
The Goreblight.
No, the one that got catapulted into wavered stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just stuck in the middle. Because that would have been making a race for the other side, and now it's probably going to end up having to just pivot and fight back the trolls to keep that unit strength on their side. And I think he's got a good chance of winning potentially on the right with the Soul Reaver Cav. It's kind of, for me, like 50-50 Soul Reaver Cav or Zombie Trolls without some shenanigans.
He's Rashad sending some vampire and vampire.
I just think I think that Soul Reaver Cavalry on the far right is in a position where the way the zombie trolls are positioned and where the Gore Blight is, that there's a good position for them to get Surge shenaniganed into.
Oh yeah.
Faux show.
Again, I wish Morgoth was somewhere else, but we'll see what happens.
This is Morgoth. I don't even know who this is anymore.
Morgoth has been absent. He said just not in the game today.
He needs a little more Depeche Mode, a little more Sisters of Mercy. He's not goth enough.
I mean, some people had some great Morgoth names. We have Morgoth the Toothless up in the chat.
I think it was Sam that called him less goth, so he's just emo now.
Less goth. That's great. I love that. Ugh.
But like, if we start to count what unit strength Rashad can realistically have on that side of the board, that number is pretty low.
Yeah.
But it's also pretty low from Mike.
So it's just whose will be lower.
And if you're trying to talk Dan, you're muted. It might be intentional.
It was at the time because my son was talking. But yeah, it's right now. If what Rashad has is more than one, that's probably enough at this point.
Mike's vampire's gone.
Ooh, did we? Yeah.
Yeah, he picked up
Vampire Crime.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like maybe Mike will be taking a trip to California.
Well, it's still up in the because like this is unit strength 3 for these zombie trolls, right?
I said maybe.
So this is Mike's best chance of scoring.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think
and this
for me it's the cavalry and the whites.
The whites are still speed 7 shamble?
Yeah.
I guess they can bounce off of this unit and get into scoring position.
Yeah, I think they're going to use a charge as their main means of crossing the board. And that's what he's been sort of counting on, which is why I wish Rashad had sort of pushed stuff up earlier. Because right now he's going to try and basically cross the board by just charging into paper-thin units.
My shocked face returns. The Soul Reaver Cavalry broke a regiment of zombies. Mm-hmm. I am Trey shocked.
So now the question is, with the direction those zombie trolls are facing, can they move forward into the side arc and pivot so that there are surge into the flank of the Soul Reaver Cav?
It's going to be tight with the board edge there.
It'll be very tight.
And with the 1-inch rule, I think I don't know if they can.
And then the second one is, can the Gore Blight disengage, walk over that direction and do the same sort of thing?
That was more my thoughts, and yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they're checking.
He's trying it. Yeah, nope. But that's the thing you want to do, because if you can get one other unit influencing that combat, then those Soul Reavers go down, and you've got unit strength on his side of the board with a clear shot.
Right.
Yeah, look, they're showing it. They're checking it right now. Did they? They're not. It's not even. We're not over to what? Are we over to Mike's turn?
Are we over to Mike's turn? I'm not sure.
Yep. Yes, we are.
Okay. Yeah. Let me update.
The Rev Cap actually did a super respectable 4 damage to those raids.
Yeah, that's why I had missed that combat, I think, and that's why I was like, we've moved on to Mike's turn.
Well, when you have no shooting and no magic,
your turn's
and you're only fighting two places, that it can get pretty quick.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't. I just meant like I had missed it, and then I was like, "How did this happen?" So did they decide the Goreblight probably couldn't get there to the Soul Reaver Cav?
It would be a long surge,
Yeah.
and I'm not
Which
Which is
convinced.
why I wish Morgoth was on that side of the board to help. But
we can't have everything now, can we?
I don't know, with how much Morgoth has been doing, he probably would have been in better placement on the other side of the board.
I kind of feel the same, but here we are.
so do the Wraiths have range on the Soul Reaver infantry?
They're speed 7, right? It'd be no.
The Wraiths.
Wraiths. Oh. No. Just no.
Infantry.
Are they?
Yeah, they look like they're in.
7, right? 14.
Everything. Yeah, it looks like they're in
Infantry.
14. Zoomy
Yeah.
zoom.
The Soul Reaver Cav? This unit?
No, the infantry.
No, the infantry.
Oh,
That's
the infantry.
center.
Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah.
Because they could swing in and beat them up and be in a position to flank the Soul Reaver cavalry in the following turn. And then you just peace trade. You blow up both zombie units with your hammers.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting towards their side of the board with your two hammers, Michael's two hammers, your cavalry and your whites. You've blown up the Soul Reaver infantry, and all he has left is one hammer against 3 units. I mean, that's sort of, there might be a smarter play, but that seems to be a simple sort of peace trading.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want another one.
He gets to remove one of them, and that's it. And he might actually fluff and not remove the one he's charging, but you know.
Right. Again, has to go and need to yell at his kids.
So
I saw
in
him look
reference-
up like an angry dad, and I feel like I've seen that look before.
in reference to the effectiveness of Morgoth, we have a down.
Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. So
It looks like looks like he's seeing what the Balefire is going to fire at, but
The other thing is the Balefires get to dunk on that Soul Reaver cavalry unit this turn.
yeah,
I kind of want to know where the 24 line is. Like I don't know, but like I don't want to like put it
Yeah,
out
I
there.
can't check that without tipping
I know.
something.
I know.
So
I know.
we can at home just get a ruler out, like a physical ruler.
Measure
measure
the
it.
board.
measure. Yeah,
You're looking really comfy, Ashley.
Yeah. Well, it's been almost 3 hours, so I gotta get snug. I'm just snug. It's hard though because I do it in the bed. I'm like in the bedroom, so I'm on my bed, and I'm like, these pillows. They look like I could just lay down right here.
We'll yell
got-
at you if you start snoring.
I got my otters. I'll just take a little nap. Let me know when the combat starts,
okay.
or the catapults start firing. There we go.
Looks like Mike's moved the Goreblight out to get some Cloak of Death.
Look at Durf.
And looks like you need a 5 on a surge to get him into combat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if his line is good.
Oh yeah.
Steve, Death by Dragon's coming in with the Ashley Knapp and like most of Rashad's units this whole game. Absolutely on point.
Well, honestly, this has been besides the Goreblight, who finally got into the action, this has been a shameful display of
Yeah,
a lot of tap dancing, a lot of tiptoeing. There's Soul Reaver infantry that have basically charged nothing this game. There's Soul Reaver cavalry that first charge in the entire game has been a zombie regiment.
On top of 5.
One on Rashad's side hasn't charged anything. This is yeah.
Yeah, this is this is not looking good for Rashad now.
Yeah.
So his hope is that the Whites or the Soul Reaver cavalry fluff on those zombies, right?
Something's got to hold, but the problem comes in is the odds are so terrible. So terrible.
Yeah, so we have a conspiracy theory from Larry here that I support. Is maybe Rashad is throwing this game because he just wants an excuse to go to Virginia. And all of this stuff, we've been like, why doesn't he just do this? Why doesn't he do that? And Rashad's on the other side of the line going like, I'm giving Mike every advantage. Why doesn't he just kill me? Why isn't he moving forward? Like,
but to counter that point, no one wants to go to Virginia.
Says the guy from Virginia.
No, I'm from Maryland.
Oh, okay. So he likely loses this unit.
Yep.
I think this Goreblight's going to miss completely. I don't even think there's any chance of him getting in there.
I think the reason why he did that was to put an extra one from Cloak of Death.
And it's insurance. It's insurance in case he blows up the troll in 2 turns.
Right.
Well, it also gets him over to his opponent's side of the board, which is obviously the game, right? So
yeah.
And he couldn't pick a better line because he had to he could only turn sideways to run away. He couldn't over pivot. That's the line he had. And I think it's smart to get the Goreblight over there.
Yeah. It's like
plus he gets to just wander around dropping wounds on things. It's great. Dropping bombs. Vicious.
Mike has been very good hitting with his balefires this game.
But the amount of hits has been reasonable.
Yeah, it's really balanced out. You got another hit.
Another 3.
Another 3.
3 more wounds.
And what's really going to matter there is not even that he has a chance at wavering or breaking it this turn. That's great. But it means that whenever it faces off against Whites or Soul Reaver cavalry of Mike's, that he's already up on that trade and can knock him in one go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's the thing. A lot of
is really solid.
And that's the thing with a lot of this shooting that people sometimes miss, especially chip shooting. It's not always about that unit. It's just getting a lead.
Yeah.
Some really high nerve rolls on Mike's side this game.
So he wavered them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
That is.
That's a
really-
dagger.
If I'm Rashad, I'm salty as shit about those waivers on the shooting. That is rough. So we have a question. How did the third catapult see it?
Yeah, that is a super good question.
Okay, because the
I don't know if they
more
brought
Mike
it.
Adkins shooting.
I actually think that might actually not have been able to see it. It's really close,
Yeah.
for sure.
Dare I?
What?
And then waivers the others. The trolls waver the other soul reavers.
Awful. Crushing is what it is.
Ashley, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
What did he nerve roll on the second Soul Reaver Cavalry?
I laid on my
7.
microphone again.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, you've been talking for like 5 minutes, and I'm
It was funny because I was like, oh, look, this just in. Dash 28, Mike Atkins cheating scandal again. And then Britton put the banner up. So I was like, that was just great timing. No, I just laid on the mic again. My bad. I don't think I said much else, so it's not like critical.
and surprisingly the trolls and the flame take out the soul reaver infantry.
Yep. Well, roll good nerve, win games, but yeah, I'm surprised. The two waivers is just absolutely nasty.
Yeah,
That's
that's huge, huge, huge.
Right. Wraiths put another damage on the other soul reaver infantry.
Force another nerve check.
But only one. So there's a chance here that no.
Not with that 7.
That's what he needed to.
Yeah, I was like, that's exactly what he needed.
It's exactly this.
Whew. All right, I would like to change my previous vote. I would like Mike's side of the table.
Yeah. Usually when you ask at turn 5 and 6, it's not as hard to pick what side you think is going to win.
If it is, then it's been a very tight game.
I mean, that went bad quick.
Very quick.
That was just,
we keep going back to this side over here, the right side, where he positioned his Soul Reaver, like his Revenant Cav troop. If they had charged in, I think this flank is entirely different.
Or not even charged in, just moved up. So, yeah.
So that the fight
We
was
just
more
come
on Mike's side of the table. It was being
Yeah,
debated
so
over there.
the fighting happens back in that corner.
And then even if he does eventually win out and kill some of Rashad's stuff, it would have been so late in the game that Mike's not really bringing much across the board anyways.
Right. So, this is white.
Wow.
it's okay though. It's okay because
Whoa.
that Revenant on the dead worm.
That was 5 hits. That was 5 wounds. That was 5
it's
wounds.
only
5 wounds. So he got 11 hits and 5 wounds onto that zombie regiment.
It doesn't matter anymore.
No.
But it's just
Like
more
that.
just like it's more just like
That-
rolling that many ones. It's just funny.
That's
Yeah,
the
with
lucky.
this Soul Reaver Cav unit getting wavered, it doesn't matter at all.
No. Roll an 8, 13. What's a zombie reg nerve?
dash 15.
Oh, okay. Cool.
They're fine.
Cool. They're fine. Yeah, I just wasn't sure what the nerve was.
Eight out of 14 for
That'll do it, I think. Yep.
They both.
So the Soul Reaver Cav took out the zombie regiment. Not surprised. So then if you're here, where do you put your Soul Reaver Cav? Do you run them forward and just pretend there's no dragon?
Yeah, there's no dragon.
So just
There-
run,
yeah.
right? Just run.
That's right. You know,
I don't know. Actually, like with the waverings, all the waverings happening, I kind of feel like you might have time to go kill that dragon.
I'd go for the sure thing and just
Run.
run them forward so I can get the points.
But the question is, did he fight with his wraiths?
No,
Not yet.
Not yet.
I would have fought them first.
I would have probably
Yeah.
too, just so you know whether or not for
Yeah,
sure
that's
that he's grounded.
You'd know if it's grounded or not.
There we're getting they're measuring the 24, I think, here.
That'll get you.
Not quite. It's got to be entirely, right?
No,
Yeah,
it's majority. Majority.
Yeah, it's entirely.
We read the rules last night. I'm pretty sure it's majority.
I think the tournament pack might be different.
I feel like it's majority.
I mean,
I'm not in the tournament, so
I mean, he's got another turn just to
yeah.
scooch him on over.
For sure.
And plus, it's not the true 24 because the stick's not actually on the bottom of the table. I don't think. Is it?
But that makes it worse for him, not better.
Yeah, that would make
No, I
it
said
worse.
that's what I'm saying. He would need the other turn anyways.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so they're saying in the chat it's majority for win-loss, but completely within for bonus points. So you get the bonus points if you're completely on the other side,
Right.
but you would still could win the scenario only being majority.
Got it.
There we go. So, yes. So that's where I
what
wouldn't have
went
known
wrong?
that from the tournament pack.
So there's a few things that went wrong for Rashad, besides just Mike rolling good nerve. We know about the sort of right hand later plays, but was there ever a point you think his strategy was working?
I
Not really.
no,
He was
I
too
have.
reactionary.
Yeah, he needed to pick whatever side that he was going to and push it, and that would have been his right side, and he was giving a lot of stuff respect that maybe didn't need to, because Mike's shooting's been a difference maker.
I think also here I'm looking at Rashad's wavered Soul Reaver cab in the middle that have 6 damage. He's turned them totally the other way. I'm just not sure what he's hoping to achieve over there. Is he just trying to hope he's just going to run away? Like,
I think he's hoping to ground this white unit. This unit here can't actually see him.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I
'cause
think
of the
he's just
hill.
hoping to pick up something over here.
if he gets lucky turns and gets his turn 7, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, there's the wraiths in the center a charge.
Are they going to charge though, or is he just going to shoot at him with 2 catapults again?
I would just run them over, guarantee keep them on the side, guarantee the points, and shoot them.
I
He
mean,
may not be able to do it.
my theory is both.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You-
Right. You could purge them in. Yeah.
Yeah, you more
True. Morgoth could do something. So
Yeah, it just took 6 turns. Morgoth could be helpful.
but Morgoth might have better things to do. So,
I don't
does
think
Morgoth have
there's
anything good
lift.
to do?
but I think you
Finally.
charge. I think you definitely charge them because they're not guaranteed to break a wraith troop in one,
Wow.
and
Right.
it shuts down their ability to do other stuff.
So it's going to be kind of irrelevant because the zombies didn't do anything to the wraith or the whites, so the whites are going to get a nice flank charge,
Yep.
They should. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
zombies the catapults can shoot zombies if he wants to.
Yeah.
So wait, the zombies didn't even ground the whites?
Nope.
No,
Yeah.
didn't do a single wing. Didn't even hit.
Didn't even hit.
Come on, zombies.
Yeah, and they didn't break the dragon. Didn't do anything.
Yeah, Dragon put a 5 spot on him, but it's
Yeah.
that's just a grind that would never end.
Yeah. But you started the grind on turn 5.
Yeah, if he had
So-
started it.
Yep.
So it's a paddling.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's all kinds of bad now.
That's
Yeah.
paddling.
Yeah.
So
Well, at least the movement phases are much quicker now.
Yay!
there's just not a lot of thinking going on there.
Yeah, not a lot of hard decisions to be made.
Yeah.
And then gore blight into the flank.
Yep. The trolls get over. The unengaged trolls get over.
Yeah.
Will they? Will they get over?
What are
You
they?
might have to merge them.
They might have to surge them.
Yeah, but they'll still get over because you won't need to. The gold bright's going to go into the flank, so you don't need to worry about surging him. He can just go there.
Yep. Sorry, Rashad. I hope you got those airline miles. I hope you got the upgrades.
Mm-hmm. You fly first class to Virginia.
Don't
Get
forget
on Travelocity.
Yeah.
Get while the getting's good.
If Vanguard's still going to be at the end of April, bring the bug spray.
Vanguard's going virtual this year. It's already kind of been a
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
I mean,
no.
Vanguard 2021.
2021.
Right.
Because they've talked about like it can't be. They made it very clear very early on that the bet it had to be the physical tournament. He couldn't go to Vanguard virtual.
So, Rashad, bring your bug spray.
Yeah. Oh, we got a catapult dead. Right? Last turn? Was that last turn?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
forgot
it was
to.
supposed to be.
You got to roll it, right? Yeah.
He forgot to roll it.
Yeah. So at least that
So
means
it's like-
there's like a little. They probably went to go do shooting and went, wait a minute.
Yeah. Didn't you murder one of these?
Didn't you like finally kill one of my 3 things?
Now what? They're gonna dunk on the poor zombies?
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, dunk like Michael Jordan.
Feels like such a waste on defense too, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Rerolling
It's a-
one is still kind of nice.
It's the only thing he can shoot at, but it's a good thing.
Sadly, it's tied. I think it's the second most unit strength unit he's got on the board at the moment.
Yep.
So these Soul Reaver calves, which are not long for this world, both of them. Oh, I'm surprised he didn't take the flank charge there.
Yeah.
Because that would
Yeah.
have still been the 24.
And it would have been guaranteed.
Yeah.
Kill.
Yeah, that feels a bit lazy. That feels a bit like a walk off. And
Unless he thinks he's going to try and surge this guy super far to get over, and that's a big ask.
Yeah, I would much rather just charge in with the Gorblight and then just
He may wrap that one up. I think he might just be seeing what these guys can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
So it looks like he was a 5 or a 6 on the.
Yeah,
is he just in range?
Or a 5 on the,
that's what I think he's checking. He can just charge.
They
I
were
think.
just in range. Yeah.
There you go.
Ah, well then take it. Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
All kinds of bad. This group has to sidestep. Looks like 2
to get the
maybe
bonus
1.
points.
No, it's sidestep 1 to get it.
Yeah, to get the bonus points.
The Gorblight's blocking him, right?
Yeah, I think so. Because he should be. Michael should move those.
Well, it's
trolls
not like
down.
the Necromancer has anything else to do. He could surge that Gorblight to make that.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, just. Yeah, fire hits again.
All right.
If he gets to the back turn, if he gets to the back board edge, he turns into 2 Gorblights.
I was to say, I'm like, are we playing checkers?
Well, I like chess.
Promotion, yeah.
Work out this drain line from zombies.
Just guaranteeing it.
Another 6 spot.
Ow.
What is the other 6 dice? Oh, he hit 6 times. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Morgoth heard that we were talking shit about him for.
And then they rolled an 11 for the nerve check. Jesus. Or no, that's not a nerve check. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the nerve check.
Yeah.
No, I think he bumps that gore blight way before the inch.
Yeah.
Not that he needs it. He still counts for win. It's just a matter of bonus points. Is it units or is it actually unit strength?
Number of scoring units. So
it's currently going to be 1, 2, 3, probably 4 and 5.
Yeah. I think the most he can get is 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's going to need about a 3, though, looks like.
Yeah.
And I'm terribly, terribly shocked, but the flank with the race.
Whites in the flank.
Yeah, the whites in the flank. Yeah. Took out
Yeah,
the Soul Reaver.
like, if you look at what that Soul Reaver infantry and Soul Reaver cavalry that were deployed towards the left.
Yeah.
Did not fight.
They didn't do nothing.
They did nothing. They danced around for 2 turns and.
Well, in fact, actually, only the one Soul Reaver infantry unit over here did anything. This unit here also didn't kill the unit of zombies, but that's it, right? So,
so the sort of they both killed a unit of zombies, I think.
Yeah.
So you killed 2 units of zombies.
And this is sort of you look back and you're like, that's a damning indictment of the play. Sorry, Rashad, I love you, but you had 4 vampire units and you killed 2 zombie regiments with them.
Right.
Yeah.
The entire game.
So more than half of your army is.
There's a turn 7 so that Mike can continue to finish things off here. Did they fight this one out?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
That was the first combat that they did.
Right.
But what keeps happening that is absolutely brutal is he just keeps healing those wraiths with the drain life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then grounding the dragon again. And then it eats them for 4 more and then he drains life. It's absolutely brutal to watch.
Yeah. It's gonna happen again in the last turn here too.
Yep.
Yup.
The vampire kills another.
Yeah, they were very skittish vampires on Rashad's side. They got very spooked easily by the ghosties.
Yeah, he gave a lot of respect to those wraith groups.
I agree.
Too much.
Too much.
He gave too much respect on both sides. He split his lines and didn't follow through on either side. And what happened?
Oh, that just hurts. Remaining unit strength. Mike 17, Rashad 1.
1.
Yeah.
Bring it. It's Mike 11. Rashad 1.
Don't worry, Rish.
Yeah, all kinds of bad.
It's okay, Rashad. I still love you and your melted cheese.
Did he just double ones that war machine?
Yeah, he did.
Yep. Got 14 wounds. 14 wounds to it and double ones to it.
Okay, someone bring this mana beer.
Yeah. Mike is calling it.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like Mike doesn't need that turn 7.
Yeah, he's already got max bonus points.
Yeah.
He doesn't, but I think they can call that he does. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because really all that's left for him to kill is the dragon, really, and walk a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't think he does kill the dragon. I think he basically just...
No, I don't expect it, but that's the only thing left for him really to do, right?
Yeah.
Like everything else is gonzo anyways.
All right, we'll get them in here as soon as they get here, and we'll finish up.
Yeah, let them come on over. No, that's not what we're saying, Larry. Though Larry
We would-
agreed with me a lot, which doesn't happen very often. So Larry, you and I, we can be friends.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, guys?
Stop, my dude. How's the melted cheese?
The cheese is done.
Yeah, it's
Is
burnt.
it burnt? You burnt the melted cheese.
He got me very good.
You burnt the
Oh,
melted
yeah.
cheese, Mike.
Sorry. Sorry.
I'm not gonna lie, it hurts. It stings.
So, Rashad, when you come into Virginia next year, you need to bring some bud spray.
I gotta bring some what?
Bud
Bug
spray.
spray.
No. I have Vanguard early enough in the year that the bugs haven't get up yet. We have it on the perfect weekend when it's just warm enough to have the heated pool open, but not hot enough for the bugs to be out yet.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I just have
My
another
understanding-
reason to want to go to Vanguard. Rashad's going to be
My
there.
understanding of that area that you basically get 2 weekends a year that are good.
Yes.
So basically, I lost
Yeah.
on purpose because I wanted to make the trip out to you guys. That was my whole game plan.
See, the
We were
conspiracy theory is
talking about-
real.
That's what we were talking about.
Hang on. I gotta find that one. Where is
Yeah.
it?
We also had
Keep
a line
talking.
of sight thing where we weren't sure if one of Mike's catapults would have got to shoot near the end of the game there. And so now there's a conspiracy theory where Mike Adkins may or may not be cheating. Again.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's okay. No, it was a joke because you're normally our host, but you might have not had line of sight.
On
We were
what,
there
on
some
the Soul River
clickbait.
Cav?
Yeah, I think it was the Soul Reaver Cav at the end there. I think there was just one of them that we weren't sure if they could have seen around all the combat.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, so one of them definitely couldn't see. One of them definitely could, and the one that was on the line, I thought was on the line enough to be able to see. But
No, so that one,
That
I
one was
think at
fine.
that point the game was already like pretty much over. I don't think we
Yeah,
were
it's
much.
okay.
Yeah.
No, it's more it ran the joke, not the impact
okay.
in the game.
actual question.
because it did come up a
Or-
couple times. The question of like, are we calling the line or not? If it's touching the line, but you don't think it's on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
line, and you can't see a line of pixels in between, is that in or out? So we did a couple of random 4-up rolls to decide whether something was in or out based on the
Yeah,
fact that it was
actual,
touching the
We
line.
were really
The actual-
forgiving and like letting people go back and stuff, and so it wasn't like because we both sort of like had a moment where we messed something up, and we were both nice enough to say, hey, go backwards. It was fine. But then there was also moments where like that happened again in my turn. Like I left my Soul Weavers and Ref Cav on the right flank. I asked Mike, I said, are they out? And he checks and he goes, yeah. If they're outside of 10, they're outside of 10. And I had measured 8. So I left them within charge range by accident on the right flank. So that was a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah,
mistake
that
on
one.
my part.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there.
On
I'm
that
sitting there
flank.
looking at him like, yes, you're out of the orange line, so of course you're out. It didn't occur to me that that we were talking 2 inches off at all. Like I didn't even look at it either.
I just mismeasured because I measured 8. I didn't measure 10 for some reason. It was just not a very smart thing to do. But hey, you got to live with the mistake.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think
I
that
mean,
even
a huge
sometimes I
difference.
forget which colored lines I'm supposed to be counting, and I've done that where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's 10. Oh, that was 12. Oops. Like,
So the
Yeah.
actual Mike Adkins cheating scandal, and again, we're mostly joking about this. It was a small thing. Was your vampire charging his pharaoh?
Why?
You were pinned against your own artillery and could not pivot to see the pharaoh and face him in charge. But that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
because the vampire lady had charged your vampire lord in the flag, and there wasn't
Right,
enough it was a cavalry base for it to turn.
Right, and I would have turned to face his vampire lady first, then been able to see the guy, then pivoted again, then got around him. But instead, I just went forward to the end, turned, and came back and got him. And we're saying
It
that's
was
not
the greatest
problem.
moral victory to kill that vampire lord with the vampire lady. Like, I knew there was gonna
So what we're
possibly-
saying
I
is
was just
that
I need to kill that thing now.
no,
Yeah.
hold on. Let Jen explain.
What gives individuals the ability to kind of do a 360-degree charge is the fact that they get the free pivot. So you actually had to pivot to get him in arc to be able to be seen first, and then been able to make the move. And he was out of
Right.
arc at that point. Yes.
So
Right.
to pivot, like the pivot you would have had to make to see would have landed you on a top of another unit because of the cavalry base.
Right.
It was like one of those small things that doesn't really come up often.
It didn't
would
actually end up
only-
make that big of a difference in the game either. So
Yeah.
it's not like
Let's
it's
not.
But then we had to make.
Yeah, like
There's a lot
the snake eyes on the catapult the turn before was what was what mattered more than that, I guess. So how would that have worked if I just countercharged his vampire? Would she have slid back enough for me to turn sideways and not land on my catapult? Or?
Well, I think if it was a counter charge, it would have been fine because you would have been able to just like reform to do it. I think.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that one.
I'd have to look at it.
But like before the double ones happened on the catapult, I rolled my surge on the rev cap, right? And I rolled 5 out of 5 dice, which got him just out of inspiring range, which made him basically kill it in turn 1 with a hot roll.
Yeah, we saw that.
With the Pharaoh together was kind of like back foot already. And then I made that huge mistake on the right flank, and that I think had that not happened, I think I would have still had a good fighting chance actually, because I would have fought him well on the right flank, but I just made that mistake. So I got to give it to Mike.
And like dice didn't do you a whole lot of favors, and I kept getting things right on, and like the catapults were rolling way better than they had any business rolling, and I kept fucking wavering vampires every round.
Mm-hmm.
You had some good nerve spikes, Mike.
You did, yeah. We like your nerve rolls were pretty on point.
I'm definitely cashed. I definitely cashed in a whole bunch of dice karma for that game, man.
Yeah.
I liked our plans because like I felt my hope was to like kill a war machine by turn 3 so that I don't have to worry about it too much. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, and Mike kept moving backwards. So I felt really strong about not really attacking him and holding the midline. You know, I wasn't really going to attack him, but then turn 5 and 6 with the dragon, I felt like if I don't go in right now, I'll let him come. So I don't even know if that was a good move to go in with the dragon, because eventually I never killed the rates. But yeah.
And I'm sitting there looking at like, okay, so there's a wall of RevCav troops that are just going to come at me, and all of your stuff is faster than me. So like, I just have to castle up and shoot and hope that I somehow like win a chaff battle or get lucky with artillery, or in this case, both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else you could have done, given that I just kept fucking wavering all your hammer units, man. But it was a good. No, it was a great game. It was a great game.
It was. I feel like I know Mike won it, so at the end of the day, it didn't really change anything in the grand scheme of things. But how did you feel, Mike, when you rolled a 1 success on your surge for the flank with the zombie trolls? Like, did you wish Morgoth was a little closer to help out, or?
You know, you can't have everything go your way in a game, and I felt like I'd already gotten plenty of breaks at that point, and I was like, Rashad is so due a break here, and if it's this. Right, and I still wavered the soul reavers with the Gorb Light, so I was like, man, this is
like Nutso and did his job anyway.
This game is like playing with Rashad's emotions so hard. It's like giving him a break and then taking it right away, and I'm like, God, it's terrible.
I have to say, after that vampire charge into your vampire in that turn, when I got the first charge, because I felt so good about myself, like using the ref cap and like blocking your charge to me, I was like, yeah, I got it in first. I have a good likelihood to maybe waver him. And then I flopped that roll really bad. I kind of was, I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit upset after that one. But, you know, I love that battle, like, because it's so difficult playing against an army that has good shooting, but then 2 surge casters on the flank. Like, no matter where you go, you always have that risk of him, like, shooting and then moving and, like, turning in. So I had to really think in some turns. He made me think really hard. And I play undead. I should do better, and I still gave him like that flank on the soul weavers. I think that could have been maybe preventable had I moved them a little bit more. It's very difficult to play against so many sources of surgical units and surge.
Well, I think you guys played it really. It was still a good game to watch, and like we thoroughly enjoyed it. So it's not like we were like criticizing. But that's
okay. Well, thank you guys for letting us watch. Since this is more or less Mike's show, anyways, I'm going to let Mike close it off for us. So.
Thanks, Dan. So I'd like to thank Rashad for playing that 3.5 hours, Jesus, extra special long game. I look forward to seeing you either at Masters or at Vanguard next year, whichever comes first, depending on how schedules work out. I've already told him I'm going to reserve the nicest room in the house for him free of charge. I'd like to thank Britton and Ashley and Steve for all the wonderful things I'm sure they said about both of us, and super insightful and incisive commentary. And I'd especially like to thank Dan for stepping in and hosting games so I get a chance to play for once. So thanks everybody at home for watching, and stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time on Dash 28 Live.